Greetings, horror aficionados! Tuck yourselves in tight if you dare, as we drift from dreamland to the twisted world of nightmares on this episode of Spooktober. In this realm, one man's sinister slumber is another's waking terror. For Freddy Krueger, the dream-stalking specter, awaits to turn your dreams into eternal screams. So clutch your blankets tight and prepare for frightful fun and blood-curdling scares as we venture into the dark recesses of Elm Street. Try to get some sleep, even if it kills you.
All we want to do is kill you.
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
I got a better one. Have you heard about this videotape that kills you when you watch it?
Oh goodness, everybody knows about. Never you mind, it's just a story.
Never trust the living.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Spooktober Spooktacular, as we are once again going through an entire horror franchise, one film at a time. Last year, we ventured through the entire Halloween franchise. It was a long one because there were 13 of those goddamn movies. Ugh. The year before, we talked about the Friday the 13th franchise. Wasn't really part of our Spooktacular, but it was there. We did it. Cool. We did it anyways. This year, we are celebrating 40 years of one of my favorite horror franchises, the franchise that Freddy built, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And today I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts, as always, Dan and Angela.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Are we ready for another journey through another franchise?
Do I gotta take a nap in the middle?
Yes. I know.
Yes. We are ready.
We're ready, Freddy.
Woo! So yeah, we're talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole franchise from the beginning, all the way back in 1984, to the movie that kind of killed the franchise and killed a lot of things, and that is the remake from 2010. We're going through them all. We're even going to be chatting about Freddy vs. Jason a little bit, but we already have a full episode on that movie, so we're not going to be going into full detail on that one, as you can just literally go back and listen to that episode. We did it last year, so it's not even that old. It still holds up. I re-listened to it recently just to kind of prep myself for this.
There you go.
So before we get into the movies, what is your guys' history with this franchise? Like, do you remember the first time you watched any of these movies?
I think the last, I don't know, probably 4 through the rest, other than Freddy vs. Jason, is probably the first time I've watched any of those. Wow. I think I only went 1, 2, 3. I think 2 kind of was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't watch them anymore. And I'm like, I'll give you another chance.
Well, after which one?
2.
Okay.
Yeah. Some things you just leave alone.
Put the dick down, sir or ma'am.
Okay. What about you, Dan?
I don't know. Actually, this will be another one of those that my first experience with the franchise was playing A Nightmare on Elm Street by LJN on the NES.
Yeah.
That was my very first experience with the franchise. I remember LJN being notorious for making shitty games. I believe they were they were responsible for the Friday the 13th game, which is notoriously not quote unquote good. There's a good core there.
Is that Purple Jason?
That's Purple Jason. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Good, but it's got good music and stuff. And then the game for that is no different. Nightmare on Elm Street's got some pretty good music, and it revolves more around the third film, Dream Warriors.
Yes. Yep.
That's the one that's kind of centers around, which makes sense. But I actually didn't see I think my first Nightmare on Elm Street movie I watched was Freddy vs. Jason. Around that time that came out. Because, of course, I was late getting into horror, as we've talked about on the show before, and I'm more of a, Friday the 13th kid. I don't think I watched Nightmare on Elm Street. It was a little bit after that, not long. I watched it with some friends, and then again with her, and I never seen any of the other films until we started this. Like, we started doing this thing. I bought that Blu-ray collection on not the last Prime Day, but the Prime Day before that. I bought it, and then this is literally the first time I've seen any of the other ones but the first and Freddy vs. Jason.
All right. And now that collection, it just had 1 through New Nightmare?
Yes. So it's missing 2 films.
Yeah, which technically weren't part of the Coraline franchise, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, though, we should mention, because they are, even though it's tied into a chunk of the Friday the 13th films getting re-released on 4K.
Yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason is getting a new 4K release.
Oh, baby. I
so
definitely need that, because I need my long time 20-year-old Blu-ray or DVD. Sorry, I don't have it on Blu-ray. My DVD that I bought when it first came out in 2003 or 4, whenever the Blu-ray or DVD came out. Yeah, that needs an upgrade. Badly.
Yeah. I don't even have that. I don't have any of those ones on Blu-ray at all.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I've mentioned it a few times, I think, on the show. This is the franchise that got me into horror. This was my introduction to horror. I remember renting the very first one at a little hole-in-the-wall video rental place that my dad would stop at. It was literally next to like this pizza joint. We would literally go in. We'd order big old order of wings and pizza, and then we go over and pick a few movies. And my dad, was the parent who didn't care what we watched, where my mom was more like, she's like, nope, it's rated R. Nope, it's rated R. No. So my dad we'd go in there. He's like, pick whatever you want. And I remember seeing the cover to Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was like, I want to see that. And I think I had heard of Freddy beforehand, so it was kind of like, oh, I've been hearing about this Freddy Krueger. I had seen, like, I remember like going trick-or-treating as a kid and seeing people dressed up as him and being like, oh, what is that? Who is that? Yeah. So I needed to see it. And I think, to be honest, I might have rented the first 2 at the same time, and then watched them over the same weekend. So the first and second Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, were like back to back for me. But yeah, this is a franchise that I've loved for a long time. I know that the quality dropped pretty drastically over the years. I mean, this is a franchise that started off as, as a trying to be a serious, scary movie, and then, taking the character into the more comedic realm, and then kind of doing this weird lore thing with him. And then we got, Freddy's dead, and then we got a whole new thing with New Nightmare, and then finally getting him to battle the other iconic slasher of the time with Freddy vs. Jason. And then, of course, it had to get a remake treatment by Platinum Dunes and Michael Bay, and we got that. And we're going to be going through them all individually. We're not going to be doing our normal plot breakdowns. If you listen to our Halloween ranking episodes, because there was 2 of them from last year, that's not what we do. We don't go through the plots. We kind of talk about our favorite, or maybe the goods, the bad, and then we will do ranking.
If it's dark, twisted, and mysterious, then I want to dissect every possible explanation as to why it is. I want to understand the dark psychology of the most dangerous serial killers, from the day they were born to the moment they snapped. I want to examine every cryptic conspiracy, and even delve into the haunted paranormal. Join me, Ashley Lana, as I explore the obscure. This is Lullaby the Fear podcast. Sweet dreams are made of these.
What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be ranking three things. We're going to be ranking the Freddy makeup, so how he looks, because he looks different in pretty much every movie of this franchise. Number two is going to be the final person, as there is a final boy in this franchise, so we can't say final girl. And then, of course, we're going to be ranking the movies themselves. So yeah, let's get this party started with 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street. So A Nightmare on Elm Street was directed by Wes Craven. Was also written by Wes Craven.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We don't boo Wes on this show.
No.
Take it back.
No. I do. I take it back. Take it back, Cease.
This was a script that he wrote as both from a story that he heard about refugees during I think it's the Hagong people who it was like there was a genocide going on over God, let's just look this up real quick. The Hmong refugees. They were escaping a war and genocide from Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and it was this whole thing about how people were afraid to go to sleep because they were having these vivid nightmares, of course, because of the horrific things they were experiencing in their home countries. And then I guess the men of these families were just dropping dead in their sleep. They were just falling asleep and never waking up, and so that inspired Wes to write this movie. Also, he was very much inspired by experiences he had as a child. I guess he said that there was a couple instances of his life where he actually ran into people that influenced Freddy, like that he looked upon and was like, that was my influence for Freddy Krueger.
That's pretty cool.
So it was a whole thing. So this was a movie that was, of course, Wes Craven had been had been around for a little bit. He had already done Last House on the Left. He had done Hills Have Eyes at this time. So he also did Swamp Thing in 1982.
Oh yeah,
and it was actually during post-production on Swamp Thing that he was actually writing this movie, that he actually came up with the script idea. And then it was time for him to go out and shop the script. He literally, the Disney actually was interested in the script, but they told him, hey, in order for us to sell it to children and preteens, we need you to, you got to tone it down and blah, blah, blah. And he was not all about that. So
no,
he went to Paramount, which was the home of Jason, the home of Friday the 13th franchise. Didn't work out there. So he went to this up-and-coming studio called New Line Cinema, and they pretty much agreed to produce the film. And pretty much that is that, and that's pretty much how it is. The New Line Cinema is now has always been considered the house that Freddy built. If it wasn't for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, the studio wouldn't be where it is now. And now it's the studio that not only Freddy built, but now it's the studio that gave us Lord of the Rings. So like how big this studio has gotten over the years, and they're still churning out stuff today. It was produced by Bob Shea, who is the founder of New Line Cinema. He's also pretty much been a producer on every single Nightmare on Elm Street film. He also makes a cameo in most of them as well. And this one, I think he was like a newscaster and a radio DJ. So I don't think you actually hear him or see him. It's more of just his voice. As for the cast of this movie, we have Heather Langenkamp as Nancy Thompson, Robert Englund as Fred or Freddy Krueger, Johnny Depp as Glenn Lance, Ronnie Blakely as Marge Thompson, John Saxon as Lieutenant Donald Thompson, Amanda Weiss as Christina or Tina Gray, Nick Corey as Rod Lane, and let's see. I'm just looking through and seeing like another prominent character in this. Yeah, that's your core cast. This movie was released November 9th, 1984. So probably about 9 days after you listen to this, it will be the 40th anniversary of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nice.
And there is actually a beautiful 4K restoration out now. You can buy it right now of this movie. I will definitely be adding it to my collection because as it is one of my favorite horror films of all time. So yeah, make sure to check it out. It is currently streaming on Max as well as are the first, I think, all of them but New Nightmare. Or no, it's the first 5. I don't understand rights or like all of that crap that goes on with streaming services because they're all owned by New Line Cinema. So why are only the first 5 Nightmare on Elm Street movies on Max, and then Freddy's Dead, New Nightmare, the remake? Freddy vs. Jason is also on Max. So like, what happened? What happened to the other ones? Don't worry, I have all of these movies on physical media, so yeah. I was okay. But
buy physical media.
Weird. Yes, buy physical media. But try to see if you can still find this awesome Nightmare on Elm Street 4-pack that comes with the first 4 Nightmare on Elm Streets. It's from what year did this come out? 2000 and something?
4?
Yeah, it's old. It's probably like 20-year-old Blu-ray collection set. The cinematography was done by Jacques Hatkin. He would actually be the cinematographer on the sequel. He did another Wes Craven film, Shocker. He did my favorite, though, of all of his movies that he was a cinematographer for was a movie called Silence of the Hams.
Oh,
I
love Ham.
Yeah, came out in 1994, and I love the cover because it's literally the cover to Silence of the Lambs, but it's a dude with cross eyes. He's like cross-eyed because he has the death head moth on his nose.
Oh,
it's got Dom DeLuise and Billy Zane. So,
oh gosh, oh boy, Billy Zane.
Dom DeLuise is Dr. Animal Cannibal Pizza. And Billy Zane plays Joe D. Foster.
Oh my god.
Dude, hold on. Hold the fuck on. When did Titanic come out?
97.
Dude, Billy. 3 years, you fucking stepped the fuck up,
God,
bro.
That's
Holy
so good.
Hell.
Oh man. So yeah, it's a parody of Silence of the Lambs and Psycho.
That's great.
That is hilarious. It had a budget of $1.8 million, made $57.1 million at the box office. So this movie made money.
That's some fat turnaround, dude.
Yeah. So pretty much. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just gonna say, we all know why, but carry on.
So pretty much the premise of this movie. I mean, I feel like most people know the premise of Nightmare on Elm Street. Pretty much it's about some teenagers that have to deal with this guy who is slowly killing them in their sleep. He is a dream demon named Fred Krueger. I do like how you don't hear Freddy, I don't think, in this one. It's always Fred. He's Fred Krueger.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
I think it's the first movie of the franchise, so it's like I feel like they're trying to figure it out, and then it just like I think Freddy sounds better, guys. Maybe we should use Freddy instead. I think Nancy says Freddy later on in the movie.
I think at the very end. I think it's like right at the end.
For the majority, it's Fred.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this movie?
It has one of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise.
Is it the room? Is it the Tina kill scene?
No.
Oh,
but close.
Is it the Johnny Depp kill scene?
No, it's actually not a kill scene.
Oh,
I know what it is.
Yep, it's where Tina's body is dragged through the hall. in the body bag. I love
yes.
that. It's just so good. It's shot so well. It's dark. We'll talk about when it's done again later in this franchise. But it's just wonderful because it's just her and it's just drag and you see nothing and it's so well done, but it's so simple. And I was like, this is my favorite shot of this entire franchise. It's so good.
Yeah, because that's the same scene where Nancy's running through and she runs into the hall monitor. She's like, "Where's your pass? Screw your pass."
Yep.
What do we think of Heather Langenkamp in this movie? Like her performance? Because I've seen, as someone who's enjoyed this movie for many years and really never really paid attention to like, oh man, her performance is very wooden. What did you guys think of her performance in this first movie?
How old?
She couldn't have been that old. She's 60 now. So it came out. She was 20.
Okay.
When the movie came out, so she was probably about 19 when she filmed it.
I just feel like she grew from this performance because I feel some of her other stuff is much better.
Yes, I agree.
Not saying that this is bad, but like she matured through this.
Yeah.
To go on and do better.
And I think you got to start somewhere, as they often say. But it's nice that we get, we haven't really touched upon it, but she isn't even portrayed as the main character through portion of the movie.
No.
It's actually given to somebody else. And you don't really think nothing of her. Like, you think she's just like a side character. And I thought she was fine. I actually like her in this movie. And again, I agree, it's a little stiff. It's the first movie in a franchise. You can say the same thing about Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis is great in that movie, but she's not as good as she is in other movies because she's still young. She's still learning. So I think it's a fair criticism. I just don't think it's a very valid criticism.
Yeah.
Like, it is, but it isn't, if that makes sense.
I mean, the Wes wanted to cast a bunch of, at the time, unknowns. So like people like they see Johnny Depp and they're like, "Oh, that's Johnny Depp." Like, yeah, this was Johnny Depp's first movie, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he never talks about this movie ever. I don't think I've ever heard him ever talk about this movie. And I never understood that. It was kind of like Kevin Bacon with Tremors for a long time. He hated that movie for a long time because of certain things that, like, I guess at the time his wife was pregnant and he was like missing out on those things, and he just thought it was going to be like the end of his career. And then he came back and he loves it. They almost did a Tremors show with him. So like, I wish these actors who'd like, yes, this, you got to start somewhere, right? Like, we're going to see in a couple movies, Lawrence Fishburne is in the third one.
Yes.
And at that time he had already been in Apocalypse Now. He had already been in other movies, and then to be in a third entry of a horror franchise at that time, it's like, come on, man. Just, you got to accept it, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, I'll make you all a deal. Viewers, us here, if I ever get to do cocaine with Johnny Depp, I will ask him.
That was not where I thought that was going.
I will ask him what his experience was like with the franchise. And for those of you that don't get this reference,
he does come back in this franchise, which
he does.
Yeah,
it's a Rick and Morty reference.
Okay.
It's when they put on the glasses where you can see like alternate realities, and Jerry puts it on. He's like, "I love doing cocaine with you, Jerry Smith. I love doing cocaine with you too, Johnny Depp." So good.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I agree that scene with Tina getting dragged through the hall is beautifully shot. It really brings attention. I think the classroom scene where Nancy goes into the dream and goes to the boiler room and goes through her experience there, and then figuring out that what happens in your dream happens in reality. So like, she burns herself in the dream to get out of it, and then she looks and she has a burn as she leaves school. Lin Shaye cameo in this movie. She was in the Insidious movies. She's been in a lot of stuff. She actually shows up in New Nightmare later on.
She's the nurse, isn't she?
She's the nurse, yeah. But she's the teacher in the original.
She's the teacher.
Okay.
She is the sister of Bob Shaye. the founder of New Line Cinema. But she was in Kingpin. She was the landlord. She was Woody Harrelson's landlord.
Yes, I knew she looked familiar. I fucking love Kingpin.
She's so good. But I think a lot of people know her from the Insidious movies.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I think it's going back and rewatching this movie again over the last couple of weeks. I've picked up on like certain things that I just was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. Freddy is genuinely scary in this movie. His makeup is really good. Of course, this is the first go round with the whole thing. So, we're seeing something for the first time in a franchise. The hat, though, is the thing that always throws me off because I feel like does the hat change in this franchise? Because the hat in this first one doesn't seem the same as the hat as we go along. It seems to change just a bit.
It did look a little
definitely not
off.
I was not looking at that.
But I'm not a professional.
Fun story, though. We're going to talk about this guy more as when we get to the end of this episode. But Jackie Earle Haley, who would eventually play Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare remake, went to audition, at least from what he remembers, he went to audition for this movie, and he brought his good friend Johnny Depp with him. Well, I guess they liked Johnny more than him because he was cute, because he was the hot guy.
Yep.
So they cast Johnny Depp.
Here's Johnny.
So I always thought that was a pretty cool little story that kind of ties both Freddys together.
Yeah, allegedly he hates the first movie. I don't know if it's for that reason, but that's just what I've heard. Don't know how true that is.
Who hates the first movie?
Jackie
Earle Haley hates the first Nightmare movie?
Yes.
Oh. Well, because of that story?
I don't know.
Probably.
Right.
Maybe. Maybe it's got something to do with it, but allegedly he does not like the first. Which I assuming doesn't like most of any of them. I have no idea.
I was supposed to be in this movie, not you.
Yeah. Right? So Sjostrom? Mark Sjostrom was the one who did the makeup effects for the first one. I just loved the different things that they did with this movie to kind of get those certain effects, like the Tina kill scene and the Glenn kill scene are all done with a spinning room. So pretty much with Tina's kill scene, to get her to look like she is on the ceiling, they just kind of spun the room so she would technically be on the floor. But they would just have to turn the camera with the room. And what they had to do is the guy who played Rod, they had to strap him to the wall so that he would always stay in place. That's why, like, when he's reaching for her, it seems very like restrained, like he's being held back, but because he can't actually go forward or he would fly to the bottom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then with the Glenn scene, they shot him getting sucked into the bed, normal, and then they flipped the room upside down, and then they pretty much just poured the blood normally, but then they just kept the camera upside down so that it looked like it was shooting up into the ceiling. And there's a really cool shot where when it happens, the blood, there was so much blood it caused the room to tip a little bit, and you can actually see the blood kind of like pool to one side because of that whole thing. Yeah, that was all done in one shot because it would have took so long to clean up and do it again if they had to. So they were like, we got to do it. I think it was like I'm trying to think. It was like a 5 to 6 hour makeup process to get Robert Englund all Freddy'd up. The claws were very sharp. He said that many times he would accidentally nick himself with them just from messing around. And I guess there was a couple times where he's gotten a couple actors over the years accidentally. I know that with some of the movies, they actually had to guard the claws because a lot of them throughout the years were stolen from set.
Yep.
So they had many, many versions of the knives. I mean, this is just an iconic movie. There's really not much more to it. I mean, at some point, I think it is due for a full episode of the show. I think it would be a lot of fun to go through and really dig deep into this. But I think that should be it for us on A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I don't think I need to ask where this movie is going to be ranked because it's the first movie.
Yep.
So it's going
at number 1.
At number 1. And then for Freddy's makeup, of course, we got to put number 1. And then Nancy is currently our number 1 final person. Even though I think Mark Patton stated he actually doesn't mind being called Scream Queen, so being called a final girl.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's whatever.
We can still say final person, out of respect, you know. So yeah, there we go. That is A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Now it is time to venture to the very next year, 1985, the year of Angela's birth, as we're talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Freddy's Revenge. Oh. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge was directed by Jack Shoulder.
That's not a real name.
He directed such films as Alone in the Dark.
Wait.
Not that Alone in the Dark.
Oh, I was like, wait.
No, this was a movie from the 80s.
Okay.
A horror movie from the 80s. A movie called The Hidden, which I've heard good things about it. Our friends over at Dewey Pod Monster covered it, and I'm actually interested to check it out. It was a New Line Cinema film because Bob Shea produced that one as well. So,
nice.
Yeah. And he also directed Wishmaster 2, Evil Never Dies.
Hey! I love that subtitle.
It was written by David Cheskin. Wes Craven had nothing to do with this movie. He pretty much was brought in originally to write a script. He was going to write it, but they didn't like his script, and they kind of were just like, yeah, we're good. Just go over there somewhere. We don't need you.
Should've let him help.
Yeah, that's why Nancy doesn't come back in this movie. That's why they kind of just do a whole new thing. Like, it's not... Yep. It's connected because they talk about the events of the first one, but it's not in a way. But truly, this movie has the scariest version of Freddy of this entire franchise. I think this is a Freddy that there is no inkling of comedy. There is no one-liners. There was no one-liners in the first one, other than like the, when Tina's in the... One of my favorites is when Tina's in the alleyway, and I think did she say, "Oh my God"? And he's like,
"Yeah."
Oh, I am God.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a movie that is considered the gayest of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. As there's just a lot you can tell just by a lot of the things that go on in the movie. Mark Patton at the time wasn't fully out as gay, but people I think picked up on it during production, and I think things were maybe squeezed into there because of his whole, of his sexual orientation. It's a whole weird thing. It's a weird the whole story behind this movie is just wild. And there's a whole documentary on it. It's called Scream I think it's Scream Queen, where it's about Mark Patton and kind of his life after Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Okay.
And he's had a pretty tumultuous life since the movie came out. He, especially since this was the movie that kind of outed him in a way.
Yeah.
Not fully. He did come out on his own, but it was kind of like, yeah, I think we got the idea type thing. But, yeah, if you want to know way more about this movie, there is a huge documentary too called Never Sleep Again, which you really should check out, which is literally just going through every movie and talking about the behind the scenes and the making ofs and all that stuff. And it's really, really good. It's really, really long, but it's really good. It's very similar to a Camp Crystal Lake Stories, or Crystal Lake Memories, I think was the Nightmare on Elm Street one.
Yeah.
So This stars Mark Patton as Jesse Walsh, Ken Myers as Lisa Weber, Robert Roussier as Ron Grady, Clu Gallagher
Yes.
as Ken Walsh. Man, I love him. Return of the Living Dead, baby. Hope Lang as Cheryl Walsh, Marshall Bell as Coach Schneider, Melinda O'Fee as Mrs. Weber, Tom McFadden as Mr. Weber, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, and bus driver without makeup. I didn't realize he was the bus driver.
Yes, he was.
I know he was the bus driver in the beginning when it shows his hand with the claw, but I didn't see his face. So, all right. Glad we picked up on that.
It's a really quick shot. You can see his face, like when it's like panning or something. It's like, oh, hey.
Okay. So yeah, what do we think of this one?
I'm in this movie too.
Are you?
Yeah, Christy Clark.
As Angela Walsh. Okay, there we go.
Yep, it's true.
I was born this year. Yeah, I'm in this movie already, and I'm a blonde. I'm just kidding.
So what do we think of this one?
News to me. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Just kidding. She's really pretty.
That's fair. You're gonna ask. What you think?
Oh, hold. I didn't like this one as much as the first one. Other than what? Don't act so surprised. We discuss this every time we watch another movie. Some of the kills were kind of meh. Like I had a hard time because you asked us to pick our favorite kill. So I was looking, I was like, I don't really have one. I just kind of had to pick one. But I just didn't like it. I think that's what kind of deterred me from trying to watch any of the other ones, just because I was just like, eh.
Oh, this is the direction we're going? Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I get it.
Hello.
Hello.
I promise.
Not
I'm
like
still
we
here.
haven't been.
No, I know. Anyway, I didn't mind this one. I thought this, like, I know there was, like, I heard all this stuff going into it. Like, I knew all this. They talked about it on the Into the Darkness documentary. Like, this gets mentioned on there about like all the behind the scenes and goings on. Of course, they talk about it on, I think, on Dead Meat for a while as well. They mentioned some of this stuff. And, like, not that really has any bearing on the film itself. I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I mean, I caught some of the, what seemed like, you know, homosexual or overtones.
And that didn't deter me from.
No. I'm not saying
thoughts.
it did. I'm not. No, I wasn't trying to imply that. I apologize if it seemed that way. But I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I don't know if this is like, I'm assuming it's a polarizing film, but like, I rather enjoyed my watch. I thought Jesse was pretty decent. I thought he did a pretty good job doing like his main character. He wasn't just like bland and dry. Maybe a little overzealous at times, but I liked it. He was bombastic as a character.
He's dancing in the bed.
And what?
Dancing in the bed.
Yeah. And like we got like Power Bulge at least once.
Oh my god! Yeah, I mean that's
It's
the thing
like
is
zoom down.
I think that's why people. I think that's could be one of the reasons why people just weren't a fan of this, especially at the time, and maybe even later. It's very sexualized. It very much focuses. But the thing is this is a movie. Yeah, it's polarizing because it wasn't focusing on the female gaze.
Yeah.
Like it was focusing on. Well, no, it would be focusing on the female gaze, right? Because
so the male.
Yeah. You know, because with Jesse, you know, the whole bedroom scene and the fact that he's always in like those whitey tighties walking around,
and he's
just like
always fucking sweaty.
Oh yeah, he is just
Dude,
drenched.
He's greased all the time. This fucker would rule at slip and slide, dude.
Yeah. And like the scenes, especially the scene where him and the girl there, Lisa, they're you know, they're about to have sex, like they're in the process, and then like the tongue comes out as he's like going down, and like he's got the elongated tongue, and you know, it's the whole thing with Freddy. It's like you got the body and I've got the brain, type thing.
Yeah.
Which that line is used in the Nightmare on My Street song from Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff.
Oh my god!
I love that song.
It's
I was
so
like,
good.
which movie is this song
Yep.
going to be in?
It's not in any of them.
I know. I found that out. I was very disappointed.
I thought it was actually quite good, but I will agree with her. I had a hard as fucking time thinking of a good kill from this movie.
Yeah,
Like they were all pretty weak. Like okay, like if you want to go with extreme, like just when Jesse clapped his coach's cheeks, like that was like the one I was like, okay, this is a little weird, but it's definitely stand out. You would remember that kill from.
I'm trying to think like who do we have in this? So you have the coach, you have Ron. Yeah, the last movie had Rod. God damn it.
Yeah.
But his kill is very off screen, but I think it's effective. I think if I were to pick a favorite kill from this one, it would be Ron's death because I love everything that happens before it, which is the whole Freddy bursting out of Jesse. Because
it's so good.
It's because the whole thing is that Freddy has possessed Jesse, which is one of the only times in this franchise where that is a thing, except for Freddy versus Jason, when somehow Freddy can possess Freeburg, that wannabe stoner guy. But that's like I don't remember in any other Nightmare movies where Freddy like possesses someone to do something, other than people are just killing themselves because Freddy's doing it to them. But yeah, that whole thing. Kevin Yeager did all of the effects works on this movie, and Kevin Yeager is one of my heroes because he helped create my boy Chucky, and he is married to Catherine Hicks, who played Karen Barkley in the original Child's Play. So yeah, he's a legend.
He did a great job on this movie.
He did a great job. The effects all around are great. Freddy's truly looks terrifying. He is terrifying in this movie. I think ultimately because of how this movie performed, even though it had a $3 million budget, it made $30 million. So it made almost $20 million, or it made over $20 million less than the original. So I'm guessing New Line saw this as a failure, and they wanted to go in a different direction. Music was done by Christopher Young, who would go on to do the Hellraiser score.
Oh, there you go.
He also did he did Spider-Man 3, Ghost Rider, Drag Me to Hell.
Okay.
Pet Cemetery.
The remake?
Can't go down that road. I want to go down that road.
Sometimes deader is better, dude. Or dead is better?
Sometimes.
Whatever the fuck it is.
No, sometimes deader is better.
I don't know. Whatever it is. I don't fucking know. We talked about not that long ago.
Yeah. I like that. Deader is better.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I can see why they wanted to go in a different direction when they went to 3. But I really, I enjoyed this movie way more than I thought I was going back on the rewatch. Because I think this was one of the ones in the franchise that I didn't go back to a lot because, I don't know, maybe it was the fact that the kills weren't that interesting. Because, like, Freddy coming out and doing this whole, like, massacre on all these children at the pool, I don't know. It kind of didn't, it made it not feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I know we're only 2 in, right? It's very out of character. And, the whole, I do like when don't get me wrong, I do like when he is brought to the real world and you get the whole thing where Jesse's trying to come out of Freddy. Like, Freddy can't hold him in. I do like the fact that his gloves are his hand. Like, it's not a glove. It's just the claws coming out of his fingers.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
And because as soon as Freddy shows up in the real world, that's how he looks the whole rest of the movie. But when he pops out of the pool party, he does the whole thing of like, you are all my children now. Like that. But then I hate everything else after it. I just don't like the whole thing where, like, you got the one guy's like, hey, man, let me just talk to you real quick. Like, everything's going to... Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Get the hell out of there.
Bitch slap him.
I just thought that was just weird. Then you got, like, there's this one girl who, like, hops or, like, falls down the side of, like, a hedge. And then the flames just shoot out of the ground.
She's fucking
everything explodes.
Yeah. I really like Lisa. I thought she was really good. Like, you always get like the kind of the annoying boyfriend or girlfriend character, but like this, she's technically not even his girlfriend, but like she cares for him deeply and sees that there is something wrong, like something happening here. What do we think about the possessed parakeet scene or the possessed bird scene?
That was weird.
Super weird. Yeah.
And then you think of that Family Guy when it was really hot outside, the bird just burst into flames. It's like, yes. It was
so weird.
And the dad is like uber denial. Like, dude, shut the fuck up, dude.
Oh, Clue Gallagher?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I grew up with a friend that had a bird. Bird was an asshole.
Oh, Boo Boo?
Yes.
Fuck that bird.
He would sing. He loved doing the Andy Griffith theme, but he would like sing and whistle and everything. But if he did not want you to touch him, he would bite you. I'm like, nah. Like they finally had to start covering him up at night because he wouldn't sleep and he'd get angry and just whistle all night.
I do have to say though, this movie still looks really good. Like it visually looks good. Jacques Hatkin from the original came back to do the cinematography on this with the help of Christopher Tufty. It was released November 1st, 1985. So, Angela, what were you, like a month old? Almost a month old at this time?
Yeah. Close.
It's a quick turnaround in the movie.
Angela's parents were like, let's go see Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
No, my parents didn't.
No way in hell. I refuse to believe that would ever happen.
Dad would watch it before Mom would. He was one of those that if I wanted to do something that I knew I would get in trouble for, I'm like, hey, Dad.
Yeah, I think the thing I will say that the script was so weird for this. So you have like, it's not even like the homoerotic undertones or whatever. Who cares?
Get over it.
That didn't bother me. What bothered me was just some of the things that would happen. Like for one, Jesse goes to the gay bar.
I want to take you to a gay bar.
So he goes there, and he orders a drink, and then the coach shows up. And then the next scene is him making him run laps in the gym. Like, nah, motherfucker, we ain't at school. I don't care if you caught me here. That's not how this works. But that, of course, would lead into the scene where the coach ends up dying, which is, probably one of the most iconic deaths in that movie, or kills in that movie.
The coach didn't even change clothes. He's
just in there in his like BDSM outfit.
Do you guys not have cameras?
He's ready to go see. Son of a bitch! What the hell is the band? It's an 80s band. I'm blanking.
Oh, what is it? What's the one where George Michael sings before? Not before he was solo. Wham! Fucking Wham!
No, that's not what I'm thinking.
No,
it's a metal band. Judas Priest.
Oh,
Judas Priest.
Hellbent for Leather.
Yeah.
Fuck. What?
Hell yeah.
I could see faces in the band, but I could not think of the name.
Oh, you know we really should rank 2. And I'm thinking about. Thank God I remembered this. Into the second one, but is the poster, the original poster for the movies. So just pull up Wikipedia. Just follow along with me here.
Scared.
So the first one is iconic. The first one is Nancy in bed, and then the claws coming over. So I feel like that one has to be number 1. I do like the poster for number 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Is there anything else we really want to talk about with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge?
No.
Other than dude sleeps a lot and he sweats when he sleeps.
But he doesn't really sleep though, because he's always getting chased around by Freddy.
Okay,
here's
my
he wakes up sweating.
Listen,
bullets.
Yes, but it's okay, dude. Like, you can enjoy the movie. You see way more. You see enough dicks in your life looking at porn on the internet, dude. It's okay. Doesn't make you gay. You can still like the show. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's
way better than I thought it was.
And the gay overtones aren't really that much, dude. Just watch the fucking film. It's great. I actually properly enjoyed it. Thought it was good stuff.
But yes, I have been to a gay bar. I went to the Q.
I know. You went a couple times. I
watched a drag show. It was great.
So let's do some rankings here. Is this going to be number 2 for all 4 rankings?
No. Yes.
Stop it.
All right. Actually, though, is Freddy's makeup better in this one than in the original?
No.
Oh, all right.
No, I do not agree.
Okay.
I mean, I agree, but
Because there are people who say that this is the best makeup in the franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Because this is the start of Kevin Yeager's work. So, but hey, two out of 3. It's got to take the win there.
Yes, and I will let you guys know I did not pay the most attention when it came to the makeup details. So if you're like, hey, that Dan dude's full of shit, you're right. I'm just giving you a heads up.
These episodes are just these ranking episodes are just from the hip, So they're not pristine production. They're just us having a chat about all these movies.
Yeah,
because if we really want to do deep dives on every single movie, they'd have to be separate episodes because we couldn't talk about 9 movies in let's aim for like 2.5 hours.
Some of us have to work early in the morning.
Yeah, we'll gladly accept. No, that's fair. We'll gladly accept your disagreement, but we're just having fun, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for that one. So let's move on to the third entry of the franchise. We're now going to talk about what year did this come out? 1987's A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Dream Warriors.
Fucking Dokken.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, that song got stuck in my head watching this goddamn movie.
They had a couple songs in this movie, right? They did the soundtrack, right?
Yeah. Along with other pretty prominent artists. Let's see. Let's look at some of the people who did the music. Yeah, so we got Dokken, who did Dream Warriors, and then a song called Into the Fire. Joe Lamont.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, was produced by Chuck Russell, who will go on to do the 1988 remake of The Blob the very next year.
Ooh,
he also directed Dan's favorite movie, 1994's The Mask with Jim Carrey. Arnold Schwarzenegger's film Eraser, and the very first Scorpion King.
Hey, I like that movie.
I do too.
Interesting.
So he does some all right stuff.
Yeah, The Blob is really good.
Yeah, The Blob is quite good.
The Blob, yeah.
Definitely recommend it.
Yep. His first movie was called Dreamscape, which was actually a movie that helped influence Nightmare on Elm Street. That was actually the movie that Disney was like, hey, could you do it kind of like that? And it was Dreamscape.
Really?
Which was one he wrote. He didn't direct it. This was his first movie he directed. Wes Craven came back to the franchise to help write this movie, along with huge director, man who has taken a lot of Stephen King works and made them some of the most iconic films of all time. Frank Darabont, who would do Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, The Mist. Yeah. So
good stuff.
Good stuff. Bruce Wagner also helped write this movie. As for the cast of this, we have Heather Langenkamp back as Nancy Thompson. We have Greg Wasson as Dr. Neil Gordon. We have Patricia Arquette in her very first film as Kristen Parker. Robert Englund back, of course, as Freddy Krueger. Ken Sagos as Roland Kincaid. Rodney Eastman as Joel Crucell. Jennifer Rubin as Taryn White. Bradley Gregg as Philip Anderson. Mr. Anderson. John Saxon back as Donald Thompson. Zazaz Gabor as herself, and Dick Cavett who plays himself. Angela, can you name me another movie that Dick Cavett was in? It's one of your favorites. We've talked about it on the show many years ago. And it just got a sequel this year that came out in September, starring Michael Keaton.
She's checking.
Dick Cavett was in Beetlejuice.
Oh!
He was I'm
terrible with names.
He was Delia's agent.
Okay.
The one who shows up first after all the things happen, and she's like, he's the one who calls her a fraud.
Yeah.
That's Dick Cavett. He had a variety show. He had a talk show like David Letterman, and that's kind of the whole thing on the TV. And he's talking to Zsa Zsa Gabor.
It's a Zsa Zsa.
Is it Zsa Zsa? Oh, sorry.
Yes, it is.
Because I love her.
I'm so sorry.
Have you ever heard that song Prima Donna?
Probably.
Who the fuck sings that song? I should know this. I gotta look it up.
A couple more people I should shout out is Brooke Bundy as Elaine Parker and Nan Martin as Sister Mary Helena. So this of course this one wasn't one that came out directly after the second one. It came out a couple years after kind of the failure of the second one. They kind of needed to figure out what to do to kind of get this franchise back into the right direction. And so they thought, hey, let's go back to the original creator. And so they brought Wes back. And then they brought some other people, like Frank Darabont. And they got them together, and they're like, let's get back to to the good old days. And we got Dream Warriors, where we bring back Nancy, but she is, of course, older. She's more mature. She's a doctor herself. So she's like, she kind of fits in with all of the kids that are being affected by Freddy. This movie has some of the best effects work in the entire franchise. The Freddy, like snake or worm or whatever the hell you want to consider this thing, so one of the best effects ever. I love it so much.
It's really good.
It's so good. The kills are really creative because of the fact that we have these kids that each have their own like power in their dreams, but also the way that they're taken out. Like, it's such a fun movie. Oh, I forgot to mention that Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie, but he was credited as Larry Fishburne. This movie is just fun. It's just so much fun. Because this is where you start seeing slowly Freddy is being turned into the one-liner, wisecracking killer, instead of it being like what we saw in the second one, where he was more of an entity in the second one, where like Freddy is now, he is back. He is back in true form from the original, but now he's got some added bonuses.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Shady's back.
Freddy's back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tell a
Different
friend.
music.
I mean, it has some of the most iconic kills. I mean, the kill on, I think Philip is the one who gets the tendon kill, where he's being
the marionette kill.
Oh my dude, it makes me squirm, dude. Still,
it's so
like when they
good,
pull the things out and he's being walked across.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like, oh god, it's so good. Oh, it's great. I love the stop motion Freddy that turns into the. I wish we got more of the stop motion Freddy though.
It's so
it was so
smooth.
cool. Oh man, and then it just goes into him. It's just like, I feel like all the kills in this are just good. They're really good. They're all creative in their own special way. Terrence and the whole thing where his gloves or his fingers turn into needles, and then you have like the pores or the holes on her arms that are just like suckling. And oh man, it's so great. Yeah. And then of course this is where we get one of the most iconic lines in the whole franchise, which is the TV kill, where he comes, which is such a great effect of him coming out, like his head comes out with the antennas on top, and then his arms come out. He grabs her and he's, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." And the thing is, I can't wait to do a full episode on this one, because this is the one I really want to talk about, like, in depth. But I always thought to myself, are they really thinking that she killed herself? How the fuck did she do that?
Hanging.
She's just hanging from this TV, man. She's just like, she like set the couch up so she could like run real fast and then bounce off and just fucking head first right into it.
Oh, it's like Luigi from Smash Brothers. Like, woo!
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are we talking about here?
She did a whole like walrus thing.
It's so good. But yeah, I mean, it's fun all around. What do you guys, what are your thoughts on this one?
I love this one.
This has been great.
I loved most of the kills. I do have a problem with one of them, but he was a goober.
He was a goober.
Which one? Who gets the
Is he a
goob?
goofy goober?
Is he a goober? Oh God, I was just about to say that.
Yes, he was a goofy goober. The one nerdy boy who was like, he was the wizard.
Oh,
dude.
I am wizard. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one who plays D&D. Yeah. The one who was in the wheelchair.
Yeah, but it was just the
It fit for his character.
The skill was, yeah, he was just very like.
He should have been the Flash.
Especially when he gets attacked by his own wheelchair.
Yeah,
like the Freddy wheelchair with all the spikes on it.
It's like playing Elden Ring.
One of the other things that I thought was hilarious was the mute, the one who didn't talk, was that. Which one? Who was that?
It Joe?
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's Joey.
Oh, Joey, right. The very first scene you see him in, he has the teardrop tattoo on his under his eye, which is I think isn't it a gang thing? Like it's
it
like
shows how many people you've killed or whatever.
It disappears. Literally, the next scene it disappears and it never comes back. I thought that was funny.
Makes me think of. For those of you that it's a somewhat recent anime, but Jujutsu Kaisen makes me think of Toge Inumaki. He's not mute, but he's cursed with an ability that when he speaks, it physically harms people, including himself. So it kind of thinks me later what he does in the movie, or when he yells, it kind of like blows Freddy back.
Oh yeah.
That's the connection I kind of get.
Give him his voice.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but I mean, I loved the whole iteration of like the inclusion of Nancy in this and her like trying to help in her own way. And this is when we get introduced to Hypnosil, which won't show up again until Freddy versus Jason. Yeah. I love how it's introduced in this one and it's like, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. We just need something.
Yeah. I do like the whole junkyard, like got to get rid of Freddy's bones, got to put him in like holy ground, and John Saxon's death. And what did you guys think of Nancy and her dad dying?
Yeah, it's whatever.
It happens.
It's part of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I was a huge fan of Nancy dying. I think the dad was fine because I like the whole thing where they're in the dream and then he shows up and he's like, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. And then it's actually Freddy manipulating him. I do love them fighting the skeleton Freddy when he's just like,
yeah.
Just I'm like, this is some Sinbad shit.
Yeah, right. Well, we already had the stop motion, so
I thought it was so good.
I will say for Nancy, at least they had the decency to kill her off at the end of the movie. Not like a lot of these horror movies, they bring a character back and immediately murder them at the beginning.
Like, oh, you've done your time.
Like, we don't need you done.
Bye.
It's like, oh, okay, bye.
Hype of audience, you're gonna be back for the next movie, except you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah. Kevin Yeager back with Mark Sostrom, who Sjostrom was the one who worked on the first one. Kevin Yeager came in for the second one. They kind of joined forces for this one, and we got some of the most iconic like set pieces and effects work. And Freddy looks good, and the kills look really good. This movie just overall is just so much fun. And yeah, go ahead.
Can I make a bold statement?
Go for it.
The effects, I was talking to wife about this, and I think some of the guys at work, the effects in this movie are so good for a horror film like this. Mm-hmm. Like everything looks way better than I feel it rightfully should. It reminds me a little bit of like the effects quality of like The Thing in 1981.
Yeah.
Like just that good is what this, I mean, the effects are like literally, I can't think of another movie made at this exact same time, 86, that effects that were as good as this film.
I agree. I think it's some of the best.
Yeah, especially like the stop motion and like the Freddy, Vorworm.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, dude.
Yeah, and then Freddy versus Jason, like, let's make it CG.
Yeah, let's do the worm thing. But we'll make it CG.
Don't do that.
And in this movie, you eat the worm. The worm doesn't eat you.
Damn Russian.
Oh man, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this movie other than it's a lot of fun, and we are definitely going to be doing a full-fledged episode on it. Lastly, though, I guess we talk about the cinematography was done by Roy H. Wagner. You see what he did in his career. Live action Beauty and the Beast in the same year. Worked on shows such as CSI and Ray Donovan. That's yeah. There's that. It
That's a thing.
had a budget of $4.3 million, made $44.8 million, so it made about $15 million more than the second one, so it was getting back on track.
That's good.
Yeah. It was released February 27th, 1987. Yeah. So that's Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Iconic soundtrack. Some great songs on that soundtrack. I think downloaded some of them on my put them on my Spotify playlist after watching this goddamn movie. It's so good. It's so
Rightfully
good.
so, dude. Rightfully
All right.
So.
Now it's time to go through the rankings. So, firstly, we'll talk about Freddy's makeup. I really like this makeup. I think this was the last of like the really good looking Freddy look. I think 4 still does a solid job with Freddy's look. It's when 5 hits when you're like, oh no. And I don't know if it was
done.
And I don't know if it was just a fact of trying to figure out a faster process to get Robert Englund in the makeup, or if Robert Englund was like, I don't want to be doing this for hours upon hours a day, so we need to come up with something better. And so they had to adjust. But I still think he looks really good in this. I think he looks a lot cleaner than his other ones, because like I feel in the first 2 he looks like a burn victim. Like he has like he's especially the second one. He's very wet. He's very shiny and like moist the whole movie. Yeah. Where this one he's like a little bit cleaner, because I think this is kind of a different version of Freddy we're seeing. So he's a little bit, not as grotesque looking. This is kind of like the iconic Freddy look. If you're talking about like what's the most iconic look for Freddy, I think number 3 is the one you would think of. I don't think it's the best. I don't even think it's better than 2. I actually like the first 2. I think it's some of my favorite makeup work for Freddy in the entire franchise.
Okay.
So I would probably put this at number 3.
I disagree. So.
Well, then tell him. I told you. No,
it's up to.
I literally told you I didn't pay attention to the makeup. So you guys vote. I have literally no input on this, except for one movie. I thought he looks good, but I just, like I said, I just didn't keep tabs on it.
I know which one you were discussing. I just like his makeup throughout the whole movie. Like anytime that he is in any scene, like whether it's him through the TV, him through, the worm, I love all of his, how they did his face. Period. I wouldn't put it above number 1, but I put it above 2.
All right. Well, you know what? That's what we're going to do. So number 3 is going to be the new number 2. So
we need to go to the bathroom and tell people you take a 3.
So here's my thing.
1 and 3.
Who is the who's the final girl in this one? Is it Kristen? Because I feel like I guess
because she dies.
Yeah.
Kristen does?
No, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy.
Does.
That's true. All right. Well, I guess Kristen. Where are we? Is she better than Jesse?
No, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
No.
I think she's kind of bland, to be truthful, but
yeah, because I think she's supported by everybody around her. Like she has a supporting cast around her, and I think Nancy, I like Patricia Arquette. I think she's a great actress, and this was her first role, and you could kind of tell.
Yep.
But yeah, she seems like she was half asleep in this movie, until there was like certain aspects, like when they all figure out their powers in Dream World, and she's like doing flips and shit, and I was like, okay, I like where this is going.
Question.
Yeah.
Since this is Dream World, do you think like Freddy Krueger hangs out with Kirby? Like just curious. Like Kirby is a engine of destruction as well. Like I just don't think
Where do you think he gets his rocks off, dude? Just lets Kirby.
He might. So there's like
Kirby's
a
great
theory,
at sucking.
right? There's like a theory, and even I think it's actually mentioned it, like that Kirby is literally just like this engine of destruction that just happens to like be kind of benevolent.
Yeah, that's cute.
Because he's just
people are like, "Aw," until it
and he's just like,
takes out your entire house with one suck.
Yeah, and he just and then like there's nothing left. Like he's a void. He's literally nothing. He's like the embodiment of a fucking singularity. Anyway, I'm just asking. Just some strange. You know what?
No.
YouTube or online or like on social media. Let us know what you think. Do you think Krueger and Kirby hung out?
All right, poster.
This was pretty cool.
So the poster is, of course, it's Freddy's face with. So Matthew Peak was the one who did the original theatrical poster for this one. He did it for Freddy's Revenge, and did he do it for the original? I don't know. But yeah, he did it for 2 and for 3. But I really like this one. It's all the kid. It's like the kids facing off, like balancing on his claws, going to face off him. The tagline: "If you think you'll get out alive, you must be dreaming." And it's got the Elm Street house on the bottom, which is cool. So I would put this over 2. I think the first one is so iconic that it's like hard to top that.
I agree.
All right. So Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is our new number 2 for poster. And then, of course, finally would be the movie itself. This one is clearly better than number 2, in my opinion. I think it's probably unanimous around. But is it better than the original? Angela?
I say no, just because it's so hard to top the original.
Go ahead. This one's tough for me, dude. Like, it's really hard for me to pick between the two, because I would say I'd probably give the edge to the original just because of that one shot that I really like, and I really like the grim and gritty and the just because it was I don't know, something about it's like not exactly the same. It's like when I would say T1 to T2. Like T2 has better production value and stuff like that, but it's just something about the first Terminator, like the lower budget, the grittier. Like, it's just great. That's kind of how I feel about this a little bit. Like, I'd probably give the edge to the first one.
All right. Well, there it is. Our new rankings for the movies is 1, then 3, then 2. All right. Now it's time to move on to 1988's A Nightmare on Elm Street, or The Dream Master. This one was directed by Rennie Harlan. We've talked about Rennie Harlan before, as he directed Deep Blue Sea.
Oh.
He also directed Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger. Oh, that's right.
Oh,
He directed a Pokemon.
Yeah, and it was not my fault. I was either working or I was sick. I'm not taking responsibility. It's somebody else's fault.
I think you were working.
Sorry.
Just picking. Gosh.
It was written by Brian Helgeland and Scott Pierce, with a story by William Kotzwinkle and Brian Hegland. Yeah, they don't sound real.
None of these names these are not real fucking people.
He's from freaking Pennsylvania too.
It was produced by Robert Shea and Rachel Talalay. Keep that. Remember that name, because it's going to come back in this franchise. Music was done by Craig Sefan, who did music for The Last Starfighter, Major Payne, and Cheers.
Hell yeah!
Okay, there you go.
Cheers is so good.
Heck yeah. Was released August 19th, 1988. Had a budget of $6.5 million and made $49.4 million. So it made a little bit more than the third entry. So yeah, this was back to kind of the way that the second one was. They didn't have any of the original writers or anything for this. This was a continuation of the third movie. But it was one of those movies where you introduce. So it was a new actress playing Alice, or not Alice, playing Kristen. So going through the cast, we have Lisa Wilcox as Alice Johnson, Danny Hassel as Dan Jordan, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, Tuesday Knight as Kristen Parker, Brooke Feast as Debbie Stevens, Ken Sagos as Roland Kincaid, Rodney Eastman as Joey Crucell, Andres Jones as Rick Johnson, Toy Newkirk as Sheila Kopecki, Brooke Bundy as Elaine Parker, and Linnea Quigley as a cameo in this movie. We'll talk about that scene where she shows up.
She shows her boobies.
Does she show her boobies? Is that her? Fuck.
Yeah, she is. So Linnea Quigley's cameo is one of the things popping out of Freddy's chest at the end of the movie, and it's the one with the boobs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta be known for something.
So
and Robert Shea.
Tuesday Night's parents thought Tuesday was better than Wednesday.
Yep. Yep.
There it is.
Dude, see, now when you talk about fake ass names, I demand, dude, I want to see, listen, I'm going to play a political card. I want to see the birth certificate. I refuse to believe that's her actual fucking name. And if it is, awesome, but I just don't believe it.
Who are we talking about?
Tuesday
night.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to talk about Toy. There's an actress.
I'll question that one too. I'll question the fuck out of it. How's it spelled?
Toy.
Shit. I'll still question it.
So I guess Wes Craven came forward to Robert Shea about an idea for a fourth entry in the franchise, and he turned it down. And wanted to go into the direction that they were going in with this whole Freddy backstory. The whole mom was raped by 100 psychos or whatever it is.
I'm gonna grape you in the mouth. If you know, you know.
So they brought in Rennie Harlan, who at the time I don't think was like well known. I think this was pretty close to one of his first films. He directed a movie called Born American in 1986 and a movie called Prison in 1987. So this was technically his third film. He also directed two movies in 1990, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Our friends over at Doom Generation did an episode on that movie, and it's hilarious. So check that out.
I will say this. I've never seen that movie.
Okay.
But I have, in fact, owned a Ford Fairlane. Just letting you know.
There you go.
Okay. It says he's a successful Finnish film director, but he directed a movie called Born American.
Isn't that weird? Is that weird? Like, I'm not making fun of him. He can direct what he wants. That feels weird.
It feels odd.
He was married to Gina Davis at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just find that weird.
But yeah, let's talk about this movie. What are your guys' thoughts on Nightmare 4?
Dear, or do you want me to go first?
I felt this one could have been left alone and not made.
Like, put the dick down?
Yes, definitely. I was disappointed.
Say all the words, dear.
I was very disappointed. I made so many comments during this one.
Nothing.
You can elaborate if you want.
There was so much said. I was like, why? There was a lot of why going on.
I think this movie was a fucking snooze fest, dude. I was so bored watching this damn movie. Like, we got this new girl that's supposed to, like, take, Alice, whatever the fuck her name is. Didn't care about any of the characters. The returning ones died. So, like, even the fucking, the decent cast, some of the decent cast members from the last film come in. It's just, I didn't care for, of course you're there for Freddy. That's ultimately what you're there for.
Right.
But I literally was the only movie, pretty much the only movie out of all these we watched that I was just bored out of my mind before the ending came up. I was like, "Are we done?" And I don't know if it was because we watched so many in a row. I have no idea. We broke them up. We didn't watch them all in one day. It was like one per night.
Say that because we did watch them all in order, and
yeah, but like not more than one a day.
But it wasn't like some of them were.
I just could not maintain my attention watching this film. It was very difficult.
I liked this more than I thought I would. I think mostly I enjoyed this because I thought the effects were really good. I loved the kill with where the girl turns into the bug, like she's working out and stuff. But there were a lot of scenes where you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this taking so long? Why are we seeing, like, I understand the whole loop thing that was going on, where it's like Alice running around the diners, like, you know, talking to the guy, and she's like, we gotta go, and hops in his truck and then drives. It's the same thing, happens like 3 times.
I thought the movie fucked up. I'm dead serious. Skipping? I was like, we've heard this before.
We had to we backed it up and watched it again.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times.
I love this scene. I need to see it for a 7th time.
Dude, and oh my god.
But this is when we get the iconic shot of Freddy when he puts his sunglasses on, which is a fucking gif. That's all I've used it so many times.
We do get a Jaws reference.
We do. Yeah. But of course, this is when they introduce the Freddy backstory, where he is like the bastard of 100 maniacs or something like that.
Yeah, they really lean into it.
Yeah, because it's one of those, like, they introduce this whole thing where it's like Freddy was born evil because of, you know, never know, you know, his father is a maniac, and it's like, that's not how it works. It was just, yeah, that whole thing was weird. And also, like, Robert Englund is just wandering around amongst these people. Did you see that?
Yes. I was like, Robert Englund.
Hey, I think that might be the dad. He looks like that guy.
Yep.
But also, how is this goddamn prison, like, set up? Like, why is she down there? And then these 2 dudes are just, like, up on this balcony, and then she can't get out the door she came in? Hello? Is there no one watching me? I'm a woman all by myself in the midst of 100 crazy people.
She accidentally got thrown into the mosh pit.
Yeah.
Like, whoops. Fuck her. We'll get another one.
Yeah. It was... I don't know. I feel like I did enjoy this, but I'm also trying to think of, like, what was, like, the best kill in this movie, other than, like, I like the bug one.
That was a good one.
Like, Joey's kill was kind of just a rehash of Glenn's from the original with the bed. Yeah. You got the girl with the pool. I don't even remember how she died, but, like, she gets sucked into the dream, but then gets pulled out. But then she dies. Oh no, she gets her. That's my favorite kill. The girl getting her fucking soul sucked in the classroom.
Oh yeah, it seemed really out of place for him. Did it not? Like, really
to make out with a high school girl and suck her soul. Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Like it was at least more than a decade before he was a pedophile.
Yeah, which, crazy enough, is that when Wes Craven wrote the original, that was his original idea for Freddy, was to make him was to have him be a child molester. But I guess because there was a whole thing at the time that the movie was being written, there was a lot of cases of it, like, in this one area, and it was kind of like, why don't we just make him a child killer?
That's fair. However, that's this movie. Oh, fuck. There are 2 good scenes in this. Okay, some of the kills are okay, but there's 2 good scenes. If you want to take the first one we just looked at.
Oh, the dog peeing fire?
The dog peeing fire.
Yes, and waking
Freddy up. And Robert Englund in drag.
Oh, as the nurse.
Yes. Fucking hilarious.
Nurse.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where I'm sitting there watching the movie because I hadn't seen it in a long time. Because, like, I think the original is the one I still see, like, pretty regularly. I would say every couple years I probably pop in the original and watch it. But the sequels were always ones I was like, it's like Freddy's Dead was, like, I think one of the sequels that I'd watch all the time because we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I remember seeing the scene, like, when I just recently watched it, going, is that fucking Robert Englund? What the fuck is that?
It's really good.
So
dude.
Good.
That was literally probably my favorite scene. And then the bug kill is my favorite kill.
Yeah. Is.
So for me, it's like there's just like these few moments that I like, but like other than that, like I could give like legit, like most horror movies, you don't tend to give two shits about the characters. I could give two shits about any of the fucking characters in this movie. Like I didn't care for Alice, and then I'll make the joke I made about her when we get to the next movie. But I didn't care about the new girl that replayed with Christine or whatever the fuck her name was.
I liked Alice. I wasn't the biggest fan of I wasn't the biggest fan of Tuesday Night as Kristen Parker, just because I really wasn't into the character from the third one. Like I thought she wasn't.
Well, same thing.
Like Kincaid is a badass. Like I like that Kincaid is the one who accidentally wakes up Freddy, like with his dog, like pissing the fire and waking him up. And
the dog's name is what? Jason.
Jason.
Yep.
Yep. Irony.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I enjoyed this mostly for the effects. I thought the effects were fantastic. Screaming Mad George was behind a lot of the effects in this movie. And
usually does good stuff.
He does really good. The end of this movie is fucking bonkers, and I loved every second of it. When the souls are coming out of him. And so during that scene, which is great effect, it's literally this massive dummy of Freddy. Like it's huge because it's actually people inside of it, like going through this like weird latex material, kind of like what they used in the original with him coming out of the wall, which is
I did see clips about
which
this.
I watched an interview with Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund going back to the first one, talking about that effect. Is like it costs like nothing to do that. It was just latex. It was literally I would just push myself up against latex, and then I came back. And then the remake's like, let's make it CGI,
and it looks like shit.
It looks like ass. We'll talk more about that.
Capital ass.
Holy moly! But yeah, that ending is just like fucking insane, and I was like, this fucking rules, man. This is what I want to see. Like yeah, I can agree mostly. I didn't hate all the characters. I actually like Alice. I thought I like her transformation from kind of being like that, like Carrie. Like she is that like really like, I don't like talking to people. And then she becomes, by the end, she's a fucking badass. She's like prepping herself in her room, doing like freaking, she got the nunchucks, like about to go into battle. Like she's badass. And then she faces off against Freddy in the church, and you get to see that really cool effect of all the souls like trying to escape him, and then it was like the whole thing where he's like being split in like,
and they're like hanging on the wall.
Oh yeah, with the arms and stuff are coming out, and they're like grabbing on it. It's like it's one of the coolest effects in the franchise.
Okay, like I said earlier, I will agree. There are moments in this movie that are cool for me.
Yeah,
I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why.
I get it. I get like a lot of before. I think before Alice goes through her transformation, the movie is kind of like, all right, let's move it along.
It's literally her witnessing her friends die and her screaming about it, and Freddy like, get the fuck out of here.
This isn't the one where the friend dies from getting overfed, is it? Or is this the fifth one? Okay.
That's the next one.
I'm just trying to remember, because like Kincaid, he just gets killed in the dream and then just dies on his bed.
Yep.
Joey gets sucked into the bed.
Mm-hmm.
You get the girl turned into a bug.
Yep.
You get the girl getting her like whole body sucked, so she just turns into like a bodysuit.
You get the Jaws kill. Jaws.
Oh yeah,
so it's the gloves.
Does she die?
Maybe she doesn't.
I don't think she dies from that.
Okay, maybe not then.
She dies. I think she dies a different way. Oh no, she gets set on fire.
That's normal.
Because she gets thrown in the furnace in the dream, and so they run into her room and she's on fire.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
normal stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel that's all we really need to talk about with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 of the Dream Master. So now it's time to throw it onto the rankings. I feel like I'm going to be the minority here for the rankings, so I feel like this is going to be probably on the bottom of everybody's thing.
So far, yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Freddy makeup. This is when it starts to kind of become, like, I think 4, 5, and 6 kind of seem similar. I think 4 and 5 are more similar than 6. 6 is when it gets really lazy. lazy.
That's
I'm putting
fair.
in quotations because it's still a lot of work. But
Yes.
where are we putting Freddy's makeup?
I have it as last.
Okay, I'm gonna agree. So I'm just gonna put 4. Final girl or final person. Well, I'm gonna say Alice because I can't say Kristen again because she dies in the movie, so she's not final.
Yep.
So we're gonna say Alice. I personally like her better than Kristen. From 3, I think she's more badass than Kristen, and I love the final showdown in this movie.
Okay.
So I would say, and to be honest, I think I would put her above Jesse.
Ooh.
Okay.
Because, like, here's the thing. Jesse doesn't really do a lot. He's possessed by Freddy, so he has to, like, fight his way out of Freddy, which we forgot to talk about the final scene of Nightmare 2, where Lisa's able to get through to Freddy, or get through to Jesse, and then he, like, kills Freddy, and then, like, comes out of, like, this cocoon thing of him.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool shot. But I would put Alice at number 2.
Okay.
Below Nancy from part 1. And I gotta put Alice part 4 because she's the final person in this 5th one too. So. Poster. Again, the original theatrical poster was done by Matthew Peak. I really like his posters, so like this is cool. I like the claws coming out of the ground. You have like the eyes in the middle, and then Freddy's face with the weird popped out eye in the sky. I don't know. It's my least favorite. I would put it at the bottom. I still think
it's not as good as any of the other 3.
I think it's still a badass poster. Not gonna lie, I would definitely hang. If I got a collection of all the Nightmare posters, I would happily hang them on my wall. But this one, I think, is gonna sit on the bottom. And I'm guessing we're putting this at the bottom of our movie ranking as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like it's some of these aren't gonna be going above others.
No, probably not.
All right, well, we're done talking about that one. Now we're gonna go to 1989 and talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 5, The Dream Child. It's a boy!
Yes.
This was directed by Stephen Hopkins, who directed Predator 2? Okay.
All right.
Blown Away and Lost in Space. He also directed the first season of 24. Okay.
All right,
interesting.
Man. He's done some stuff.
Yeah. Screenplay was done by Leslie Bohem, who also did some script work on Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh God.
Wrote Dante's Peak, The Alamo, and wrote some television stuff. It was written by John Skipp, Craig Spector, and Leslie Bohem. It was this one stars Lisa Wilcox back as Alice Johnson. Robert Englund, of course, is back as Freddy Krueger. Kelly Jo Minter as Yvonne Miller. Erica Anderson as Greta Gibson. Danny Hassel as Dan Jordan. Beatrice Boepple as Amanda Krueger. So we have a different... if you didn't know, Sister Mary Helena turns out to be Amanda Krueger. It's a different actress in this one. Whit Hertford as Jacob Johnson. Joe Seeley as Mark Gray. Nicholas Mele as Dennis Johnson. Burr McBenning as Mr. Jordan. And Clarence Felder as Mr. Gray. Also, Michael Bailey Smith played Super Freddy. And Noble Craig as Merging Freddy. Also, what was the kid's name? Jacob? Was that his name?
Yes.
Okay, that was Whit Hertford. Did you recognize this kid?
He looked familiar. We talked about it. He's the Velociraptor kid.
Yeah.
That fat fuck.
Whoa!
I'm just kidding. Relax. Relax.
No fat shaming.
Relax.
Damn it,
It's
Dan.
fine. I like sandwiches. It's okay.
And I gain the weight when you eat.
Wait, we're talking about part 5. I gotta switch out my movies.
Oh yeah. Bye. He just grabs Jurassic Park.
Yeah. No, for 5 through the only one I don't own physically is the remake. Actually, I gotta run upstairs and grab my new Nightmare or DVD. Damn it. So yeah, this had a budget of $8 million, made $22.1 million. So boy, did it not do great.
Nope.
It was released August 11th, 1989. The cinematography was done by Peter Levy, who would do Predator 2, Cutthroat Island, Broken Arrow. Fuck yes, I love that movie. Oh my god, I can't wait to cover that at some point. And he also did Lost in Space as well. So he worked with this director quite a bit. Music was done by Jay Ferguson. Let's look at your career, Mr. Ferguson. I guess this is it. He did White Noise from 1982.
Okay.
I guess he did Tremors 2, Tremors 4.
Okay.
He did a couple of Tales from the Crypt episodes. He actually did a song on the soundtrack to The Terminator. Okay, cool.
Really?
I guess so. But yeah, let's talk about it. What do we think of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child? Evil has spawned. That's what it says on the DVD.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh,
I like this one better than 4. Wow. I don't know how much better that is.
Golly, I was not expecting that. I really wasn't expecting that at all. Okay.
I don't know how much better I can talk about it.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, what did you like about it? Like, what were some of the things you liked about it?
I can tell you what I hated about it.
Oh, okay.
That little kid drove me
Jacob.
freaking bonkers.
He's like the kid from
And
The Ring.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's so good.
And some of the effect stuff, I was like, what are you guys thinking?
Oh, that's the thing, though, with these movies. It's like the effects aren't even the things that bother me. Like, the effects are like, oh, yeah, that's fucking cool. It's like other things where I'm like, what the fuck is this story? Like, where are we going here? Like, now we have fucking Freddy trying to, like, possess the unborn fetus of our main character because that's how he's able to get back to, like, what the hell is happening here? But the It's a Boy line is one of my favorites, especially when Joe Lascola does it.
Oh, I'll have to go. Oh, shit. I'll have to go listen to that.
I was going to say, it's barely better than 4, but I think I liked it better just because 4 was such a poor.
Did we like creepy baby Freddy that like crawls out of his clothes? He's like,
it's just weird looking. I have a picture of it up, and it's like, ooh.
This movie does a thing where it's so good because this is when Freddy is like off the rails, just going off with the one-liners and all that shit. And then there's this one scene because Alice is pregnant from her the boy from the 4th one she's with in the 5th one, and he ends up dying, which his death is fucking cool.
It is sweet.
That's the motorcycle one where he's like he turns into like the full machinery and shit. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But so she gets pregnant by him, and then there's this whole thing where it's like you get this whole story where it's Freddy trying to take over this fetus, which she is able to see her son in her dreams as like an older child, and it's a whole weird thing. But then you have this scene where her boyfriend's parents show up.
Oh, God.
And they're talking to her about like taking the baby because they want it to live a good life. And she's like, no, I'm keeping the baby. And I'm like, what the fuck movie am I watching now? Like, this just seems so out of place. Like, I understand the subject matter of this movie. It's called The Dream Child. Like, it's talking about pregnancy and all that stuff and what Freddy's trying to do. But then you're just putting this really super serious scene into this Nightmare on Elm Street sequel. It's the 5th movie, for crying out loud. What are we doing? We shouldn't be getting this serious with a wisecracking one-liner child killer, Freddy Krueger.
As he's stuffing this woman full of food.
Yes.
Like, eat some more.
Oh, is this the one with the where he runs into Alice in the diner and it's the pizza and he stabs the sausage?
No, that's the last one. That was the last one.
That was 4?
Yeah, it was.
See, that's the problem with 4 and 5 is sometimes the things just kind of intertwine and you're like, I don't remember which one is for what.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, this one is forgettable. This one has some good effects work, but the kills are just kind of just don't care. To be honest, I'm trying to think. It's like the woman who gets overstuffed, which is kind of lame. I think the effect looks cool. I do like the fact where she like pops out of the fridge and Freddy pulls her back in. But I'm trying to
the best part of this fucking movie, dude. We already talked about it.
What?
Super Freddy.
Oh, right. The aha moment. Yeah. All I could think of is during that whole scene is like, take on.
We said the same thing. I will say, for me, I don't think I voiced my opinion on this. That this movie was not. I did not have the boredom issue as I did with the last one, but this movie is already in the territory of like late Halloween films, like Halloween Part 5, Halloween Part 6, where it's just like the goofiest fucking shit possible for people. And it's fine.
Just go off the fucking rails where it's just like, like the fact that Freddy's mom just comes out of nowhere. She's like, I need to consume him again. I need him to be a part of me. And then there's this whole scene where he's like hanging out.
Yeah. I'm surprised she didn't just like, she's like trying to uppercut him into her own uterus. Like, get back in there. Back to the beat prison.
No, once they're out, they are not going back in.
No, there was the scene where Alice and Freddy like merge. And like you have the legs are just flopping around behind one of them. And then you have little Jacob or whatever. Friggin' he's like, he turns into like a little boy Freddy. And like, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
This movie's so fucking weird.
This movie is just so bonkers, man.
Yes, it's not great. It's not great. Like I said, at least the only thing is I strike a movie down very harshly when it bores me. And while this movie didn't bore me, it's definitely not one I plan on revisiting anytime soon. So I would say they're pretty close on one another.
Yeah,
I said it was just barely.
Yeah, it's not a good one. It's definitely one that I don't expect to go back to anytime soon. I think I would rather watch 4, and I know that that's not saying much. I mean, I would rather just go back and watch the first 3. But yeah, this one is like, holy fuck. Like I didn't hate watching this, and I wasn't bored watching this. I was just sitting there going, what the fuck is what? Holy like I'm just like, whoa.
There's a lot of that. Yep.
There's just so much happening. But yeah, let's go to our rankings on this one. Freddy makeup, this has got to be on the bottom. I think the rest of these movies are just going to be kind of just falling to the bottom because they just get worse and worse as we go along. Final girl is Alice again. You know, I didn't hate her in this movie. I really didn't. I actually thought she was the best character in this movie other than Freddy. I mean, I think Robert Englund is the best part of every one of these movies, even when they get worse and worse. Like, he is still fun to watch. His one-liners are great. But to be honest, I thought Alice was pretty good. Like, I still liked her character in this one. Everything else around her was just a fucking mess.
And why was Freddy fucked up half the time? Like, he had that really weird arm that was longer than the other one for some reason.
Because he was like trying to become whole again.
Oh, okay. It was weird. I didn't like it.
Because he was a baby.
Slightly turn offish.
Yeah. He had accordion arm.
I need my people to be like at least somewhat symmetric.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that.
So where are we putting Alice for part 5? Is she better than Kristen from part 3?
I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Alice. So what do you think, dear? It reminds me too much of Resident Evil, and that's the fucking problem. It's the name. This is where it all came from. They're both redheads. Fuck it.
I get it.
I would say no.
No? All right. Okay, well, she will be at the bottom then. So Alice, part 5. All right. Poster. I think the poster was also, this was the last one done by Matthew Peak. I really like this one. I actually like this one more than 4. I love the baby carriage with the orb with the claws in Freddy's face. I love for some reason Matthew Peak was like, why don't we just constantly give Freddy this like eye that always is popping out of his head? But I also think it's supposed to resemble the moon.
Yeah.
So I really like this poster.
Or it's fucking Looney Tunes.
I would say it's better than part 4's.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that.
All right. So the final one is for the movie. It's going on the bottom.
Yeah,
I feel we can all agree on that, right?
That's fine. Just do it.
Okay. And all right. So yeah, get the fuck out of here, Dream Child. We are now going to the year of my birth. 11 days before yours truly was brought to this earth. The 6th entry of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise was released.
Yep.
With 1991's Freddy's Dead. The final nightmare. This would be the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie that doesn't have the title Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep, that's true. Yep.
This was directed by Rachel Talalay. Remember that name? I said for you to remember it. She's worked on a few. Yeah, she was like a line producer for a couple. She's been part of this franchise for quite a while, and they finally I guess originally they were gonna have her direct 5, and then something happened, and then they gave her 6.
Interesting.
You
could have the next one.
Yeah,
there just
like,
isn't the next one.
Okay, you go for it. She also directed Tank Girl, which is a cult classic from 1995. Another episode that our good friends Doom Generation did, which was really good. This screenplay was done by Michael DeLuca, who was an associate producer on Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. He also worked on the Freddy's Nightmares television series. He also wrote the short film for The Lawnmower Man.
Oh.
He wrote In the Mouth of Madness and Judge Dredd.
Wait. The Stallone one?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
The story was done by Rachel Talalay. This one stars Lisa Zane as Maggie Burroughs. Yes, she's Billy Zane's sister.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Robert Englund is back, of course, as Freddy Krueger. Leslie Dean is Tracy Swan. Sean Greenblatt is John Doe. Did you see 65? You saw 65, right? The dinosaur movie. Did you guys see Barbie?
No.
Okay.
I didn't watch Barbie.
Did you see the trailer for Borderlands?
Yeah, no.
You didn't see?
I knew it was gonna,
okay.
I knew it was going to be a piece of shit, so I didn't bother.
Okay, so the girl in 65 is the daughter of the guy who plays John Doe in this movie.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Ariana Greenblatt. Yep. Breckenmeyer as Spencer Lewis. We talked about him recently as he was in The Craft. He's better in this movie than he was in The Craft. Like, his character is better in this movie than he was in The Craft.
Okay.
Ricky Dean Logan as Carlos. We're going to talk about favorite kills. Fucking love Carlos's death in this movie, man.
I have it written down.
Yaphet Kotto as Doc. We've talked about him on the show before as he was an alien.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay Fields as Loretta Kruger. I'm guessing that was the mom or the wife, right? Johnny Depp makes a cameo in this movie as Teen on TV.
Yep.
But want to know what he was credited as in this movie? What his name was? Oprah Noodle Mantra.
I just saw that. Oh my god.
There's got to be something there. There has to be.
Yeah, it was. I don't want my name attached to this movie, but I will be in it for 3 seconds.
That's fucking hilarious. Thank you for returning, Johnny Depp.
Yes, thank you for your. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
Yes, thank you.
Tom Arnold as childless man, and
Yep.
Roseanne Barr as childless woman.
Yep.
Alice Cooper's in this.
Yes, he is.
And Robert Shea makes another cameo in this as the ticket seller at the little carnival that has no children.
Oh.
So yeah, this movie was pretty much we need to end this franchise now. The last one did not do well, and they were like, we need to end the franchise. Let's just go out with fucking batshit crazy stuff going on. This is possibly the most like toned down Nightmare on Elm Street movie in the franchise. The kills are funny. They're not like holy shit, but they're just like okay. It's just goofy.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like they were trying to make a PG-13 Nightmare movie because there's really not a lot of blood in this. But also, this is the one that introduces Freddy as more than just a child killer, because the beginning of this movie is Freddy, like you see Freddy doing some questionable things.
Yes.
So, yeah. This is also where we get introduced to the reason that he is the dream demon, because he sold his soul to some demon worms.
Yeah, demon sperm.
Demon
right
sperm,
in the face.
right, yeah.
Screaming demon.
Yeah.
So, keep going.
No, you go.
Okay, so remember how I talked about there was a movie in this franchise that was going to make me think of another franchise that I fucking hated? Another franchise entry into a franchise
this
that I hate.
was the one.
This movie reminds me of Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah. I can
about
feel it.
Yeah, like I know they're made at like similar times, and of course this Jason Goes to Hell kind of went the other direction where they're kind of pushing for like a harder violence because that movie had some pretty good kills and gore and stuff in it. And and it even had brain slugs.
Yep.
So, which we just talked about another movie that had brain slugs.
Yeah, Night of the Creeps.
Yeah, see, there you go. So it's all relevant. But yeah, anyway, carry on.
I don't know. I've always loved this movie. I've always had a blast watching it. I know it's not good. I know it's not even close to being good. But for some reason, I've always had a good time with this. It has some funny like this is Freddy just so far off the rails.
Oh yeah.
That like I just feel like it's just Robert Englund just having a good time. He's just having fun. This is the worst makeup in the whole entire franchise. This makeup is just lazy. It literally looks like he just slipped on a fucking mask from Spirit Halloween. Carlos's death, though, is the best death in the movie. The whole thing where Freddy has his hearing aid and he pulls out just goes at it, man, and his fucking ears are like pulsating and then his head blows up. So good. Yep. And then he catches it and what does he say? Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
Dude,
so stupid.
I always liked the other kids, the video game death, just because it's a video game.
Yeah.
And with the power glove,
He's like,
great.
Tilt.
Yes. But no, I agree. I don't think this movie is anything special, like as far as like any of the other ones. But it is, I'd say, probably more enjoyable than the last two, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have way more fun watching this one than I do 4 and 5. Like 4 and 5 has more of like I feel has better plot lines. Like I mean, 5 is so fucking ridiculous. That like 6 is just like, okay, I don't even care if it's ridiculous, but just give me something just give me anything.
Plus, it's got some decent music in it.
Oh yeah,
Forgot it's got Inagata Devita.
I told you that.
Baby. Which is literally a song that makes no fucking sense.
Yep.
No.
It was literally a bunch of guys. It was the band. They were high on everything, and they just started making up words, and that's how Inagata Devita became a thing. I know that song from this movie and an episode of Home Improvement. It was a Halloween episode of Home Improvement.
I remember it. I thought you were going to say something else because I remember it from. Well, of course, I heard this song.
Oh, it was on
growing
The
up.
Simpsons too, wasn't it?
Yes, that was what I was going to say. I heard a song growing up because this is like my dad listens to music from this era, and that's where I remember it from.
Yeah.
And also the episode of The Simpsons, it's where Bart is handing out hymns.
Yeah.
It was like straight from God's mouth to your brain or something?
Yeah,
like
wasn't it the one where it's
like
like the weird trippy imagery where it's like Bart's eyes are like coming out of his head and shit? And...
I don't think it's that one. It's the one where they're in church and they start playing it and the song's long as fuck. And like they're just going, and it's like 15 minutes later, and they're still going. And the lady doing the organ is like dying, and then like this far in, Reverend Lovejoy figures out it's rock and roll, and Homer leans over to Marge and said, "Hey, you remember when you used to make out to this hymn?" Because nobody knew. It's fucking great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's another musical cameo, isn't there? Like another like song in this. I can't remember.
I looked it up, and Inagata DeVita was the only one.
But anyway, that's the important one. It's whatever.
Yeah, this is
ridiculous.
This is one where like quite a few people survive too. Like not everyone is killed, and there's like one final person. This is also the one where it introduces that Freddy had a wife and kid before he was arrested. And you find out that the main character, Lisa Zane's character, is actually Freddy's daughter. And yeah, it's a whole thing. It's weird. It's a wacky movie. But this is when you get like, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul too.
And it flies off. Yeah. Oh, I remember we looked it up. It's Night on Bald Mountain. Was one of them. It's the orchestral song where it's like tries to play whenever Freddy's doing something. It's I remember it from Fantasia.
Yes,
the original Fantasia. Yes. And then for some odd reason, Goo Goo Dolls.
They
did like 3 songs.
Yeah, and, this was like early in their career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
before Long Way Down.
Oh, this was
before
Twister. Like everything. Yeah.
I know. But no, I was like, why do these guys sound familiar? She's like, Angel's like, oh, it's the Goo Goo Dolls.
Do you not know? I'm pretty good at recognizing.
No, she's people.
The score was done by Brian May, not Brian May from Queen, but composer Brian May, who did the scores for Mad Max and Mad Max 2.
And Mad Max 3, The Search for More Money.
They also did Dr. Giggles.
Oh, I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it. Isn't that a dentist movie?
I think so, or a doctor movie or something like that. Yeah,
it's killer.
It was released September 13th, 1991. Had a budget of $9 million, made $34.9 million. So it made more than the 5th one, but still not great. This is one of my favorites, and it's a guilty pleasure of mine. And I understand how bad it really is. I understand, but it's a guilty pleasure. I just enjoy the hell out of this movie.
Oh, I was like, what the heck are you
talking?
I love the little quips from Freddy, like the whole, oh yes.
And
it was
glasses.
And wait, I should have wore this the whole time we were talking about Freddy's Dead.
I can't bring myself to open the packaging.
And it was in 3D. As I have my, we both have our awesome Freddy's Dead 3D glasses supplied to us from our good friends over at Movie Dumpster. They actually had a watch along of this movie with the 3D section included, so you could use your glasses. And it possibly was one of the most nauseating things I've done in a while because, whew.
But it's cool that they had that stockpile of like actual vintage 3D glasses.
I was so pumped when I got them. I mean, they're permanently in the background now. Of the setup. They're behind my head, but there they are right there. Yeah, I still love this movie. I don't care. I still enjoy the hell out of it. I think it's funny. I think the kills are hilarious. They're not very gory or anything. They're just kind of stupid, but they're a good time. The whole sperm demon guys are just hilarious. Let it get inside you. What the fuck is going on?
This is how Freddy's brain got pregnant.
It's such a wacky movie. I totally understand people's dislike of this one, but I still have a good time. I would rather watch this over 4 and 5. I don't rank it as high. I wouldn't say it's a better movie than like 4. Like I think 4 to me is a better made movie, but I would 100% rather watch Freddy's Dead over 4 or 5.
This reminds me of why I like and hate Friday the 13th Part 8. Because that movie's so neutered and fucked. But certain things I love about that.
Yeah,
movie.
that's what's weird. It's like I don't like Part 8 because of just probably the same reasons that I like Part 6 of Freddy. Like I don't understand what is wrong with me. I guess I gotta rewatch Part 8 and just kind of accept its major flaws. Yeah. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this one?
Part 6, I've voiced my opinion. I think it's just, I don't think it's great. I think it's better than the last couple. It's goofy as fuck. And like you said, the kills are toned down, but it's hilarious. Like the Wicked West scene where just the trailers going here. It's fucking funny. Like it's literally just feels like a comedy. And then like, I don't know. And there's some cool music stuff and there's some like references to shit I enjoy. And it's whatever. It's wild. It's different. It's crazy. Here.
Yeah, I have it ranked higher than 4 and 5.
There you go.
There we go. It's our new number 4. Freddy's makeup in this is the fucking worst. It's so bad. So it's definitely going on the bottom. Final girl. I guess it would be Lisa Zane's character. Maggie. She's fine.
It's whatever.
It's kind of forgettable.
Yeah, I'd probably put her at the bottom too. Below Alice from Part 5. Because at least Alice from Part 5 does a lot. I feel does more than Maggie.
Do something.
I mean, I know you get a little like misdirection in the movie.
Yeah, you get the whole reveal.
I'd say Alice in Part 5 is a little more crucial to her film.
Yeah. Poster. It's not creative.
That's lame.
Actually, the cover of this movie, lame. I do like the poster, the theatrical release poster of him coming, because it's supposed to be like a 3D thing. It's definitely probably still the worst because it's not a Matthew Peak poster. So we'll put it at the bottom. And then we already ranked the movie. So yeah, cool. Now it went away for a bit, went away for about 3 years, and then Wes Craven came back and gave us Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Wes Craven's New Nightmare was directed, of course, by Wes Craven, was written by Wes Craven. And it was pretty much the movie itself was pretty much what the plot of the movie was. It was like, hey, Wes, we really want to bring Freddy back in a way that just feels good for the franchise because the last couple were just kind of trash. And so Wes finally came back and was able to have creative control on everything to really give us a unique interpretation of A Nightmare on Elm Street, or just like Freddy in general, because this isn't a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. This is a kind of a movie about how could something that's defined you like haunt you, like so the whole premise of this movie is the fact that Heather Langenkamp, she plays a fictional version of herself, and she is being haunted by Freddy in a way. But instead of it being Freddy, it's a demon that takes the form of Freddy to manipulate her and her kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that we get all of these returning actors playing themselves throughout the entire franchise. You have John Saxon back. You have characters like Tuesday Night was at the funeral scene, like she was in there. The guy who played Rod in the original was at the funeral scene. It was just, I just thought this was really cool. To be honest, my least favorite fucking part of this movie is Miko Hughes, and I like Miko Hughes, but I don't like him in this movie.
Who's he playing?
Miko is the son. He's Dylan.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's the
God,
kid.
dude.
Not a fan
He's
of
so
him.
fucking annoying.
He is
Full House.
He was in Full House. He was in Kindergarten Cop. He was in Pet Sematary. He was the cute little boy who gets hit by the truck. He was Gage. Yeah. But he is just, I don't know if it's like a mix of like Danny Torrance from The Shining and just the worst. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't like to be super harsh on kid actors, but like, I don't like him in this. I don't. But I like this movie. I like this movie a lot, actually. Oh man. So yeah, this was this one stars Robert Englund as himself, as the entity, as it's called, or Freddy Krueger in quotations. Heather Langenkamp plays herself, and then plays Nancy like later on in the movie in some weird dream thing. Miko Hughes as Dylan Porter. John Saxon is back as himself, and Donald Thompson. Tracy Middledorf as Julie. David Newsom as Chase Porter. Fran Bennett as Dr. Christine Hefner. Wes Craven's in the set as himself. Robert Shea is in here as himself. Marion Mondolina, who I think is a producer. She's in this as herself. Sam Rubin, Sarah Fisher. So a lot of like the New Line employees in here as themselves. Matt Winston and Rob LaBelle as Charles Chuck Wilson and Terrence Terry Feinstein, who are the two effects artists who die in the beginning of the movie. We've talked about Matt Winston before. He is the son of Stan Winston. He also was in Harbinger Down.
Oh, yeah.
He was that annoying guy in that fucking movie. Yep. W. Earl Brown as the morgue attendant. Lynn Shay is the nurse. I love how her brother's in here as herself, and she's like, I'm just going to play a nurse. I don't want to play myself. I don't want to be me.
There you go.
Nick Corey as himself. He's the one who played Rod in the original. And Tuesday Night plays herself. She was Kristen in the fourth one. So originally this had a title of A Nightmare on Elm Street 7, The Ascension. But because of what the story that Wes Craven was trying to tell, he didn't want it to be connected to the other films, because he was not a fan of the rest of the movies that came after, I think, 3. Because like he created 1, he helped with 3. He didn't have anything to do with 2, and then every other one after that. So he was like, nah, I don't fucking care. Even though we have characters from those movies show up in this one. So yeah, he wanted to kind of get away from it. So the idea that it's not your typical Freddy movie, I really liked. I like the fact that it's this demon taking the form of Freddy, because that is what scares Heather the most. Like, that is Heather's biggest fear. Like, it's her recurring nightmare, because that's all she can think about because of her time doing these movies. What did your guys' thoughts on this one?
Oh, me? Hated the kid, but
yep.
Just because he was annoying.
Yeah. But
it like him, it's hard for me to enjoy kid actors, and I was just like, wanted to push him out of the way, like, shut up.
I know, why did Rex have to get attacked? So just push the kid in.
I know.
I
Rexy,
mean,
best dude. Rex should have got nominated for an award for that.
Yeah. Best actor in the whole movie.
Great performance.
Yep. It was a little stiff, but he nailed it.
Yep.
I didn't have too much to complain about other than the makeup. I have big complaints about it.
What, Freddy's makeup?
Yes. So when it's Freddy on the TV show where she's getting interviewed or whatever.
It's actually Robert Englund.
Yeah. So it looks more like OG makeup.
Yeah.
But then later on in the movie, I'm like, why'd you have to change it?
Because it's not Freddy.
But it looks like crap.
Yeah, but it's not Freddy. That's why he looks different.
I
mean, the fact that we still have Robert Englund behind the makeup is great. Especially, there was actually a scene that was supposed to happen. I guess they just decided not to do it, was where Robert Englund was actually going to come face to face with Freddy and like square off against him.
He looks like Attack on Titan.
Oh, one of the Titans. Yeah, I see it. Okay. It's less like Bernie and more like ripped flesh.
Yeah,
because he's not. Yeah, it's the fact that he's not Freddy. He's a demon, so it's like
kind of like taking on the guys, like you
right.
said.
Yeah,
it just looks bad.
his claws. The fact that they added the thumb claw. This is the first one that uses the thumb claw because it's actually like a completely different design.
That lion ass box art.
Gotta get them up.
The fucking poster where it's like, I believe it's the metal claw in the poster.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, and you're like, look, it's a metal claw, but it's not. It's the fucking bone thrown claw.
Yeah,
in the actual
this
movie.
is literally on the back. It's literally him with the bone claw.
Yeah, 100%. I wonder if they just hadn't like finalized it because the scene in the very, very beginning.
Yeah, it's weird.
Dear.
Yeah.
I'm mad at it.
I thought it was, of course, pretty well made because it was Wes Craven doing his thing. It was well acted. It was cool to see the actors and stuff like that. But it's not what I want from these movies because it's like I know what he was trying to do, like the super meta thing. And this was right before Scream, right?
This was literally like a precursor to Scream. Like this was the like when they made this movie. This was New Line Cinema going, "Hey, Wes, I think we got something cooking here."
And I like Scream a lot. I think Scream's a great fucking movie. And this one I thought was all right. Like I wasn't high on this movie. I don't like super hate it. I didn't care for the stuff for kids. And like then it just ended up just shifting into the movie, and then like the whole at the end is just the script.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I get it. I get that. And I've actually seen the very end of this movie one time when I was a kid. Like it was just like I was flipping through movie channels, like the very, very end showed up. But whatever. Anyhow, it's all right. Like I said, the some of the even I don't think even any of the kills are too. Okay, hang on, take that back. When they recreated Tina's kill,
yes, the best kill, so good.
Was really good because you actually seen him on the walls and shit.
Yeah, you see him doing it, which is so good.
It's cool. That part I really like. I get what they're trying to do, and I think Heather Langenkamp, is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a very good job acting in this film. And yeah, like I said, it's got some good stuff in it. There's stuff I didn't like about it, but all in all, it's a pretty decent film.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I've always enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I love the concept of it. And it just kind of getting away from the typical Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah.
And giving us something completely different. The fact that it's not Freddy, like everybody who's involved in the franchise is affected by this demon. Like the reason that Wes is writing this movie is because he is being affected by the same demon. And he's really talking.
Mufasa Freddy. Keep going.
We'll go to that dark place. That's where Freddy lives.
Yep.
Yeah, Heather Langenkamp is a fucking babe in this movie. I mean, she's great. She's a really good actor, but god damn. Sorry. Yeah, overall I think it's really just creative. I just love this concept. I wanted to see more. And I think the only thing this movie really lacks is just more kills, like more creative kills. I just think it wasn't enough. Like we get the husband who just kind of gets attacked by the claw in the car, and it's just like, okay, that's fine.
He tried to diddle his bits.
He did. He tapped on that. It's like, wake up, boy.
Yep.
But
Big touch.
The kill in the beginning with the two effects artists who get attacked in like the dream, but then it turns out it's real. But the babysitter's kill is the best. It's so good, and then that's when we get the most iconic line in this movie, which is, "Have you ever played Skin the Cat?"
and this is how you recreate this scene properly.
Yes. We're gonna get to that very soon. Very soon.
It looks like he has no bones in that.
Well, I mean, it's a demon. He could have no bones.
Yeah. Did you like the whole thing where when he dies, he like morphs back into the demon?
Yeah.
Dr. Satan!
Dude, when he attacks her with his long ass tongue just wrapping around her fucking head.
Yep. Always with the tongues.
Yeah,
man.
and he's got the long. He gets the long arm, like the kind of a throwback to the original. He's got the long arm. He's trying to reach for him.
Like, how many times has he stuck his tongue out in each movie?
Yeah, it's just his thing, dude. He likes to lick people.
Yeah. One of the scenes that kind of was just so out of left field was the one where the son, where Dylan is like running onto the highway, and he sees Freddy in the clouds, and then Nancy or Heather follows behind him, and she's like avoiding a fucking tanker truck and shit. I was like, what the hell?
She's running the wrong direction. She's running with traffic, like going like why? I mean, I don't know. I know it was just for an action scene, but I was like, what the fuck, dude?
So the cinematography was done by Mark Irwin. He did a lot of cinematography for David Cronenberg, Scanners, Videodrome, Dead Zone, The Fly, which we've talked about on the show.
Okay.
He's worked with Todd Phillips, the Farrelly brothers. Oh, did he do Kingpin? No, he didn't.
Oh,
he did Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, he did do Kingpin.
Hell yeah. You're on a gravy train with biscuit wheels. Well, I don't get this. For $500, it's like, what is it? $500, Pitbull, one testicle. Wow. You think for $500 you'd get 2 testicles? Listen, Ishmael, I'm here to teach you. I'm not here to teach you everything about everything. I'm here to teach you about bowling. Ha. I think I can figure some things out for myself, Mr. Munson. And he's sitting there shitting on a urinal. Fucking love that.
That is
movie.
by far
It's
my
so
favorite performance by both Woody Harrelson and Randy Quaid.
It's
and then Bill Murray. That's my favorite Bill Murray performance too. Like I fucking love it. So
oh, it's a great.
God, that movie rocks. Let's see. Music was done by J. Peter Robinson. He did music for Wayne's World, Cocktail, Spawn.
Oh,
that was the television series, not the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's got. Keep going. I don't remember his
He
name.
also scored Godzilla 2000, the English language version of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And The Gate from 1987, which I need to get that steelbook from Walmart. I need to bring it back. I need it.
I thought about buying the steelbook they have the steelbook for Diary of the Dead, which I know is one of Romero's final films. Close to.
It's not good.
I know I've heard it's not. I've never seen it. But
I watched it because I was actually going to review the documentary that came out on Screenbox, and I ended up not doing it. And so I watched the movie beforehand because I had never seen it before, and I was like, this just doesn't feel like Romero, man. It's weird.
It happens.
This came out October 14th, 1994. So actually, as of recording, it just celebrated its 30th anniversary. It had a budget of $8 million and only grossed $19.8 million. So just shows that the people just having franchise fatigue. They were just like, we're done with this, please. And
you'll knock it out of the park next time, Mr. Craven.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I really, really like this movie. I really thought they tried something new. I just think people were just tired of the franchise. They were just tired of Freddy. They were tired of it all. And they just were like, this needs to end, please.
Goodbye.
All right.
Okay, same thing happened to Jason. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
All right. Let's go through and rank these things. So Freddy's makeup. Is it better than Freddy's Dead?
I mean, it's better than it quality-wise, for sure. It's just, I know she didn't like it.
Don't ask me.
All right. I will say we'll put it above Freddy's Dead, but we'll just put it at
only just
at Nightmare. Yeah. We'll put it at number 5. Final Girls, so it'd be Heather Langenkamp, or just put Heather.
She's good.
Better than Alice from part 5?
Yes.
Better than Kristen from part 3?
Yep.
Better than Jesse from part 2?
Yep.
Better than Alice from part 4?
Yep.
Better than Nancy from the original?
Yep.
Oh, so she's going to be our number 1.
Well, I mean, do you think about it?
No,
she's a more fleshed out and more polished actor at this point.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I agree. I think she's really good in this, and the fact she has to deal with that fucking pain in the ass child through the whole thing, and she still is able to like come out on top. It's like good for you, Heather. Good for you.
I love you. Yep, I love you, my annoying child.
Yeah. I think what was
me and Rex are gonna go hang
yeah,
out.
I think what was really fun is that whole end sequence where she like runs into John Saxon, but she's in the movie again. Like he calls her Nancy, and she's like, "Why are you calling me Nancy, John?" And he's like, "Why are you calling me John?" And then the house shows up, the original Elm Street house. I was like, "This is really fucking cool." And then they go into hell and all that stuff. So
you're going to hell, boy.
Yeah. The poster, I guess if you want to look at the original theatrical poster, it's literally just like Freddy's eyes and it's just black.
Okay. I mean, it's whatever.
Yes, man.
I mean, it could be better, but
is it better than Freddy's Dead?
I don't know. I don't
No?
know. It's
All
tough.
right, I guess we'll put it on the bottom then.
It's just his eyes. I mean, it makes me think of fucking Legend.
Yeah.
And that has Tim Curry in it.
It could be Anaconda.
Huh?
Anaconda. It's just
It's fucking Anaconda.
It kind
of Holy
it kind of is.
Oh my
But
God.
Anaconda's is better. Like it's just
Yeah.
better,
Oh yeah,
better
100%.
cover. And then finally would be the movie itself. Is it better than Nightmare 5?
don't ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better than Nightmare 4?
Yes. I think so.
Is it better than Freddy's Dead?
I think so.
Is it better than
Like quality wise, yes.
Is it better than Nightmare 2?
No.
All right.
That's too far for me.
All right, so New
I
Nightmare
didn't agree to this.
is going to be our new number 4. All right, well, the next one we're not going to be talking about too much because we've had, like I said before, we have an entire episode on this movie, but we're going to just talk a little bit about it, and that is 2003's Freddy versus Jason. This was directed by Ronnie Yu, who also directed Bride of Chucky. That's all we really have to talk about. It was written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, produced by Sean S. Cunningham, starring Monica Keena, Kelly Rowland, Jason Ritter, Chris Marquette, Lachlan Monroe, and Robert Englund. And who played Jason in this? Who was the one who played Jason in this one? Oh, Ken Kirsinger.
It's that piece of shit got thrown into the mirror.
Yeah, in part 8. Yep. And,
I'm just kidding. He's good. He's fine.
Yeah, like I said, we're not going to go into it. We're not even going to talk about our thoughts on this because we have literally an entire episode on this movie. So please, if you want to know what we thought about Freddy vs. Jason, just go back, listen to that episode, and because we're just going to get right into the ratings of it. Actually, we could talk about what's your guys' favorite kill in this movie. We could just recap on that.
You know what?
Trey, he deserved it.
Yes, hands down, Trey's kill's the best.
I picked a different one.
Oh, okay.
And for one reason only, because it was a cooperative effort.
Okay.
It was when the stoner gets possessed by Freddy and then cut in half.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a little bit of both, and I was like, I need one for both of them because Jason does most of the kills. In this movie.
Bitch.
Yeah. He's got the 2 syringes. He just gets fucking clean in half. Yeah. That's it. That's my only reason. You got your answer's probably the more correct one. I just
because Trey sucks ass, and
dude.
he's the biggest douche canoe you could think of, and
100%.
He deserved everything he got. So, all right, let's add this to the rankings. So for Freddy makeup actually looks really good in this movie. I think it improves a lot over the last few movies.
I particularly like him when he's his
the demon form.
Yes, I
it's
think
really
that's
good.
Cool shit.
So we'll co-op those. We'll put them together. So for makeup, is it better than Freddy's Dead?
Yes.
Is it better than New Nightmare?
Yes.
Is it better than Part 5?
Yes.
Is it better than Part 4?
I think so.
Is it better than Part 2?
Mm-mm.
No.
Do you want greasy? Freddy? So we can slip inside Jesse easier.
All right, so Freddy versus Jason.
I don't need beating Freddy. Thank you.
Freddy versus Jason will be, for makeup, will be our new number 4. Final person is Lori. I've said it before.
Right.
I've said it before. I said in the episode I didn't hate her as much as most people do. Is she better than Maggie from Freddy's Dead?
Yes.
Is she better than Alice from Part 5?
Yes, but I don't like Alice. So
is she better than Kristen from Part 3?
Here.
Ooh.
You don't remember though. You haven't watched this, have you?
I watched the
Thing.
kill count. I would say no.
Okay. Works for me. So part 5 will, or at our new number 5 will be Lori from Freddy versus Jason. All right, poster. Poster is literally the two guys facing off. Is it better than New Nightmare?
Yes.
Better than Freddy's Dead?
That's up to you. I don't fucking care at this point. Like it literally tells you what's.
I mean,
listen,
it's
this is
iconic,
my opinion.
dude. It's iconic. Like I feel like it's got to be pretty high.
I closed.
Dude, it's literally just the two of them.
Okay, then
like
we
it's
don't
not
have to
even
rate
drawn
high.
cool.
Okay, then we'll put it at the bottom.
See, I wish they would have got one of the dudes that did the whole drawn posters for this.
So wait, did we say it was better than New Nightmare?
We didn't decide. I was just halfway side.
Is it better than New Nightmare? The theatrical poster?
What do you think? That's the one where he's like 3D. Oh yeah, it's better than New Nightmare. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be our new number. It'll be our new number 7 then.
All right, cool.
Freddy versus Jason. All right, and then movie itself. Is it better than part 5?
Yes.
Is it better than part 4?
Yes.
Freddy's Dead.
Yep.
New Nightmare.
Yep.
Part 2.
I think so.
Part 3.
I say no.
Oh. Angela says no on part 2.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You take what you. I love this. I am biased as fuck because as a Jason movie, I don't like it because he's afraid to go swimming, and that's stupid. But like as compared to the other Freddy movies, I fucking love this movie.
You just like Jason.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you, Dan. I think it's better. I think I enjoy it more than part 2, but I can't put it above part 3. Part 3
Fuck
is
no.
All right,
Yeah,
so it's
part
good.
3 is,
So Freddy versus people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this list? Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah!
Freddy versus Jason is our new number 3. Holy shit! All right, now we end it all with the final movie of the franchise.
Oh, shit.
And that is 2010's A Nightmare on Elm Street. This one was directed by Samuel Bayer, who literally did music videos and stuff. I don't think he did much for movies. Yeah.
I don't think he did much after this either.
Nope,
Did he?
because this movie pretty much killed the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
And his career, from the looks of it.
Pretty much. It was written by Wesley Strick, who wrote Arachnophobia, Wolf, with Jack Nicholson, and Cape Fear for Martin Scorsese.
Okay.
And Eric Heisier, who
I read there was like, okay.
Sorry, I was just looking up to see what this guy wrote. Oh, he wrote the remake of The Thing, or he rewrote the prequel to the Thing, and Final Destination 5, Lights Out, which I actually heard was pretty good. Bird Box, you remember Bird Box?
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote for that television show on Netflix called Shadow and Bone. This one was produced by our good friend Michael Bay. Explosions.
Well, it's Platinum, dude.
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, he's still got his name on there. This stars Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy Krueger, Kyle Gallner as Quentin Smith, Rooney Mara. You're a good actress, but goddamn, you suck in this movie. Oh my god, she has zero emotion, dude. Like, you are playing Nancy Thompson, which actually she's not even Nancy Thompson. She's Nancy Holbrook in this one.
Because it was relevant to change the name.
Oh god, we'll talk more about her in a second. Katie Cassidy as Chris Fowles. This was her third horror remake. She was in the 2006 Black Christmas, which I actually like that. I actually enjoy that one. She was in Gossip Girl for a few years, and she was also in When a Stranger Calls remake, which also came out in 2006. So she loved being in horror remakes. Thomas Dekker as Jesse Braun, Kellen Lutz as Dean Russell, Mr. Krabs himself, Clancy Brown, as Alan Smith.
Fuck yes.
That's all I could hear when he yelled.
Connie Britton as Dr. Gwen Holbrook. I like how they make her a doctor, and it's like you never see her actually doing anything. Her mom, I miss drunk mom from the original.
Yes.
just pulling out vodka bottles from freaking cabinets.
I want. Go ahead. You finish saying your thing, and I'll.
Oh no, that's our core cast here.
I just wanted a scene of Freddy killing Clancy Brown's character and this just screaming, "Can you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?" Like the whole time, and it never happened, and I'm very disappointed.
Oh man. So the cinematography was done by Jeff Cutter. I have no idea what he's done. Music was done by Steve Jablonski, who I believe is that the guy who goes by. I thought he went by a different name. No, maybe I'm wrong. But he did a lot of scores for the Transformers films. He did the soundtrack for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake.
Oh, okay.
He did some video game scores like Metal Gear Solid 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
This had a budget of $35 million, the highest budget for any Nightmare on Elm Street film. But it made the most of any Nightmare on Elm Street film with $117.7 million at the box office.
Bullshit technicality.
Dude, it made so much money, but because of the fan backlash, they went, nah, we're good with a sequel. You don't need to do a sequel. Yep. This was released April 30th, 2010, so shortly before I graduated high school. I remember being so fucking excited to see this movie in theaters. I remember seeing that Jackie Earle Haley was cast as Freddy, and I went, that is a perfect casting right there, because I love Watchmen. I've talked about it many times. I love Watchmen. It came out the year before this. He was Rorschach, and he's my favorite character in the graphic novel, and he was my favorite character in the movie. He's just fucking, I love it. And he wore a mask, but it was like, he was great. I loved his voice. I loved his demeanor and everything. He was great. And so you
had scenes of him out of the mask, like in the prison.
Yeah. And I thought he was awesome. And so as soon as I heard he was going to be Freddy, I was like, fuck yes, I'm so pumped for this movie. I remember seeing the trailer. I was actually pretty pumped for after the trailer came out. And then when I went and saw it, and to be honest, I don't remember hating this movie coming out of the theater. I was like, okay, that was pretty good. Like I actually enjoyed myself as a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I came out of it not hating it. But boy, after watching this last night, I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. And to be honest, I feel like it's so many things to talk about that it needs to be its own episode.
Oh God. Probably right.
I understand where they were going with the whole, like, we want to make this super realistic. Like, we wanted to make Freddy look like an actual burn victim, because as the franchise went along, he just didn't. He just looked like he had some growths on his face. Like he just
wash it off.
Yeah. Where there are moments where Jackie Earle Haley is talking and I'm like, what is he saying? Like, and his mouth is barely moving. I was like,
yes.
And I'm like, what the fuck is he saying, bro? Like, what is happening with your face?
Or sometimes his mouth will be moving and nothing
is happening.
Out.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Like, oh boy, that ADR was not done well.
Oh my God, dude, the ADR, holy shit. Like, I know they did shit to Robert Englund's voice to make him sound scarier and stuff, right?
Well, they did that to him too in this.
Yeah, but it sounded like shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, it sounded fucking awful. I was like, what the hell kind of dumbass shit? Like, is this like an abridged anime series on the internet that some like randos are dubbing over? That's what it sounded like. Like, not how good he's acting, but the audio quality just did not sound good.
And they made sure that you didn't like Freddy at all in this movie. That you were not going to be like, I don't like because Freddy became an icon. Like Freddy, like people love, like, yes, he's a child murderer in these movies, but it's like, people were like, fucking Freddy, I love Freddy. We need more Freddy. And they were like, hey, remember that idea Wes had way back in the beginning with making him a child diddler? Yep, we're going to do that in this one. And we're going to fucking force it down your throat. Whew. This movie's rough, man. This movie is just like, Rooney Mara made me want to fucking punch my TV with how bad of a performance. Like, I understand, like, she did not have a good time making this movie. She almost quit acting after this movie.
I heard that. Yes.
So I don't know if her performance is just her not giving a fuck and just hating every moment of making it. But my God, I hated every time she was. I'm like, you are the main character. You are the person we're supposed to be rooting for. And to be honest, I would rather have seen Katie Cassidy's character be the one who makes it through because she was more interesting. She's the one doing all the research, looking up all the shit until she dies because she's the Tina of this movie. But it's like, she was more interesting than fucking... She is Aaron Taylor Johnson in Godzilla, man. I actually think she's worse. She's literally just like, oh no, what do we do? Oh, I've seen him too in my dreams. What about you? And Kyle Gallner is trying his hardest, man. I love Kyle Gallner. I think he's great. He was in Jennifer's Body. He was in Smile last year. He was in a movie that actually just came out called Strange Darling, which I've heard really good things about. But fucking Rooney Mara, bro.
Oh, dude, Rooney Mara in this movie, I swear her whole thing is like, I'm sad, tired, and I draw pictures. Like, that's her whole shtick. And I want to say something about that motherfucker that you like.
Me too.
Oh, Kyle Gallner.
Kyle Gallner, I'm sure he's fine. In this movie, he looks like a weepy ass fucking chimp. Like he always even when he's not being
I think
assaulted,
that was just his. I think that was just his face because he looked like that. I think he looked like that in Jennifer's Body too.
Listen, I know I got like a mug, dude. Like, listen, I'm not saying like I'm
he's a handsome
bro.
man.
I'm not saying
if you looked at pictures of him now, he's a handsome man.
No, he is a handsome guy, dude. Like, but he looks like a whiny ass fucking chimp in this, dude. Like someone's like beat him up or they took his fucking Cheerios
that
away.
scowl disappears in later movies because, like, I've seen him. Like I said, he was in Smile. He was actually one of the good, better performances in that movie.
His picture on here on IMDb, he looks like a handsome gentleman. Yeah. Like he's got the stash. He looks fine.
He actually, anytime someone posts about this movie, he actually defends it. Like he'll actually defend this movie to people.
Good.
Yeah.
Stick up for your work.
Go for it. I actually didn't hate him in this movie. He wasn't like Jackie Earle Haley is a great actor, and I've seen him do a lot of great things. Like I said, he's one of my favorite characters in Watchmen. I think he tries his best, and even Robert. I guess from what I've read, Robert Englund gave him like his blessing of becoming the next Freddy. And, I guess he was very hesitant about doing it at first. And then he was like, no, I want to see what I can do with the character, trying to create something new with the character instead of it being, I don't want it to be Robert Englund's Freddy. And so that's why we get this darker, interpretation. My biggest thing is, why did you have to make this makeup so that he can't express anything? He just looks like a blob. Like his face is like a blob. And it's just, there's no expression on his face. Like he tries to throw out some weird, dark one-liners that just don't land. The claws look cool. Like, I mean, they look like the claws. They look like the finger knives, the iconic ones. And, you got the sweater and everything. Like he looks like Freddy. But to be honest, half the time he looks like a Freddy cosplayer. He looks like a Freddy cosplayer.
And I know we're not supposed to like the guy. I know, I get it. Like, he's supposed to be a different interpretation, dude. I remember the son of a bitch. Anyway, remember this? Remember the scene you were talking about? You're like, that was just really stupid. Where he talks about the brain. He kills the one dude. And he's like, don't worry, the brain can keep going for like 7 minutes or whatever. You still got 6 minutes with me. And like, I was like, dude, bro. I've seen you as Rorschach. I don't know what the fuck you're going for here, but I did. And like I said, I was same as you. We were talking about it at work. When I remember when they announced this movie and they announced he was going to be in it, like I figured he was going to do fine because he is in Rorschach. I know he was trying to do something different. I just did not like what he was going for. It was like a weaselly, creepy kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, there was some scenes that were fine. Like I don't think his performance throughout the whole thing was bad. Like, I like the flashback scenes where it shows him before he becomes Freddy. That's fine. Freddy Krueger and all of that, because it's just he's not in the makeup and anything. He's just being himself. He doesn't have that voice and everything.
I like his mannerisms.
Yeah, well, with the constantly doing which Robert Englund never did that. He did. Like he would do the finger flick, where he would like flick hit all four, or he would flick the one. But like this, that was like a constant thing throughout the movie of him like fidgeting. Yeah,
it's cool, dude.
I still don't hate this movie. I think there was like really good ideas there. They just was just the biggest problem with this movie was the writing. The writing was just all over the place. I do like the concept of like, maybe Freddy was innocent. Maybe he was killed unjustly. And so these kids, and then immediately they find out he's not, that he was actually, he did what the parents killed him over. Which is really dark, but I think it's pretty effective. But I just don't think it was done right. And then Rooney Mara was just poor casting. Like either she was poor casting or she was something fucked up happened to her where she just did not give a fuck. Because her performance is, I've seen her in other movies. She is a good actor. She is very good. She is not good in this at all. Like this is one of the worst performances I've ever seen. And I've seen some pretty bad fucking movies. I watched a movie called Crackoon, okay? This was bad. At least that was fun. This was just like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, what is this? There's no emotion behind this girl. Oh, God. Katie Cassidy was like, I was like, why aren't you the final? Why aren't you the final girl? Why aren't you the one who I'm following throughout? Why aren't you Nancy?
Yeah, I agree. I wish they would have like spun it and Nancy died. And it would have been.
Oh, it would have been great.
The Tina character.
Yeah, this movie just doesn't land. It lands with a big giant wet fart. Just doesn't do anything for me anymore. Like I remember coming out of that theater and being like, "Oh, it was good. I enjoyed myself." And then I watched it last night and went, "What the fuck is going on? What is happening? Why do you look like that? I don't remember you looking this bad, Freddy Krueger. Why do you? God, it just looks so bad." And it's not Jackie Earle Haley's fault that it looks that bad.
No, it's not his fault. Because
I like him a lot. I've always stuck up for the fact when people talk shit about this movie, I've always stated it's not Jackie Earle Haley. He is not the problem with this movie because there are moments where I like Freddy when he's at a distance and you don't see his face up close. He's at the like chalkboard or he's doing something, or like the scene where Quentin walks in and he's like at the table with all the kids and he turns around real quick. Did not like the scene though so I like the scene where Quentin is at the pool and then he comes out of that water thing next to the building that Freddy runs into and he sees the whole thing where Freddy's running away from the parents and he's in the building like freaking out. He's tweaking. He's literally like, oh, you know, and this is where you're supposed to feel bad for him because you're like, oh, he didn't do it. Like he's being unjustly killed. But then they set the building on fire and he busts out. And it's this weird CGI Freddy melting as he's running towards Quentin. I was like, no, we didn't need that.
No,
we didn't need that. And I also didn't like the fact that he had to rip off his coat, reveal his sweater underneath.
We know it's him. Like, why do you need to do this? We fucking know. Let's spell it out for us.
Oh, yeah. It's just a mess. This movie is just an absolute mess. And I understand why people do not like this movie. To be honest, so I will say, this is not the worst remake out there. And people will always put this as as the worst like horror remake of all time. No fucking way. The Fog is atrocious. The Fog remake is bad. You don't remake a fucking John Carpenter classic and make it that bad. All right. At least House of Wax was like fun. It wasn't good, but it's still fun. We get to watch Paris Hilton die.
I yelled at that one.
That's okay. But that's it. That's Nightmare on Elm Street from 2010. I don't think there's any more. I mean, I'm trying to think like the kills aren't even like they recreate iconic scenes from the original and they're all horrible. The scene of the morphine coming out of the wall, terrible because it's CGI.
Terrible, yeah.
The bathtub goes nowhere. I do like that it's the practical hand like in the original, but it goes nowhere because in the original she gets sucked into the tub and it's this whole like tense scene. This one is just like, claw comes up, mom says something, moves on to the next scene. I was like, okay.
Well, even the Tina death is not as good. Like,
if I were to say, like, what's your favorite kill in this movie, I probably would say hers. I would say Katie Cassidy's death, but yeah, it's not great.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, I
don't know,
like
Dean's death was pretty.
Oh,
pretty
no,
intense.
yes. I take back everything. The opening to this movie is actually really good. Like, I remember sitting in the theater going, wow, this is fucking cool, man. And the whole thing where Freddy is in the dream holding the knife to his neck, but it's actually him holding the knife to his neck. I was like, this is cool. This is awesome. And then we got the rest of the movie.
Yeah, well, because that's what Angela and I were just talking about, because it wasn't the usual Like you think it was gonna be like a claw kill, and the way the blade looked,
Yeah.
it wasn't like that weird angle. It was like fucking
'cause
in.
He
most
digs in there.
throat cuts are he deep throated it. Just saying.
Yeah, he did. Just the wrong way.
It's just skin deep. No, he was like about to cut his head off.
Yeah, that was very good opening.
Yes. Oh, and I was gonna say about the whatever her name is, Kill. Anyway, I'm just gonna call her Tina again because that's who I remember. Anyway, it's not her name. But anyway, the thing I liked the end of it where she's like floating in the air and you just get the huge claws like all the way down, the claw marks. But like her just like it wasn't like the cool like her getting dragged.
No, she's like floating around.
Just floating and bouncing off the I was like, all right, I guess. Like that's not how I would have assumed it would have been done, but I mean, you got to do your own. Like I said, cool, they were doing their own thing. And I understand it's a remake, but I felt like they just leaned way too fucking hard into that.
What was a worse final shot? The inflatable mom in the original that gets sucked into the door at the very end. You know, the sex doll that gets sucked into the door. Or the mom in this one getting sucked in, like getting her eyes plucked out from behind by Freddy's claws and then pulled into a mirror.
Oh boy, it's a generational thing. Yeah. I like the blow up doll thing. I think it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But the ending to that, I knew there was going to be a thing because there's always a fucking thing, and I was like, well, that's one way to do it.
Yeah,
that's kind of my thoughts on it.
All right. To be honest, I think the only thing that I could rank this not dead last in every category is possibly the poster. I actually like the poster. It's of just Freddy there, like with his head down. I would probably put this above like Freddy versus Jason.
Yep. I'll down with that.
And then I think every other category, this movie's on the bottom.
Yep, take it.
All right. Well, everything's on the bottom for the rest of it because Nancy is. If Nancy could be farther than fucking, what are we at, 9? I would put her there. Like she is not even last. She is like beyond last. That's how bad she is in this movie.
I do not disagree.
I would rather put Quentin. He was better.
And like there are elements, like I said, that I liked. Like I like the whole micro naps thing they brought into it, but I also like how it the rules didn't seem to apply like it did in the previous ones, where she burns herself with a car lighter, but she's still asleep.
Which is probably the best acting she does in this entire movie. That and some of the screaming in the dream. When she's like in like the little kid outfit and she's on the bed and Freddy's saying gross things to her.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. It's like, I know it's supposed to be something different, but it's like you gave this weaselly ass piece of shit. And like, I know Jackie Earle Haley was nominated for an Academy Award playing a pedophile in a movie several years before this.
Yeah.
Odd that that's the way they go with it.
And I guess that's why he did it. He's like, I've already done this before. I can do it again.
Yeah, and whatever. Yeah. But like, it doesn't fit. And I know it's a different interpretation, but it just, in my mind, it just does not fit him. And I think he did a fine job most of the time, but I have some critiques on certain things he did in the movie or certain choices.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Sharks of the Corn? Virus shark? Cocaine shark? Sharktopus? Yeah, those are all real movies. Join me, Steve Coates, as each week I take a comedic look at the bizarre world of sharksploitation cinema on Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast.
Well, that's it, everybody. We're very deep into this. Few hours. We've gone through the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, ranking them, and all that fun stuff. So we're going to go through the final rankings real quick before we end this puppy. So, going over to the posters. At dead last is a new Nightmare. At number 8 is Freddy vs. Jason. Number 7, Nightmare Remake. 6, Freddy's Dead. 5, Nightmare 4. 4, Nightmare 5. 3, Nightmare 2. 2, Nightmare 3. And number 1 is the original. For Final Girls, at dead last, beyond dead last, is Nancy from the remake.
Hell yeah.
Number 8 is Maggie from Freddy's Dead. Number 5 is Alice from Part 5. Or sorry, number 7 is Alice from Part 5. Number 6 is Laurie from Freddy vs. Jason. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is Kristen from Part 3. Number 4 is Jesse from Part 2. Number 3 is Alice from Part 4. Number 2 is Nancy from the original. And number 1 is Heather from New Nightmare. For the Freddy makeup, at Dead Last is the remake. Just because it's just so... Ugh, God. At number 8 is Freddy's Dead. Number 7 is New Nightmare. Number 5... Wait, what? Wait. I fucked up all my numbers here. So, 9, 8, 7, 6 is number 5. Number 5 is number 4. Number 4 is Freddy vs. Jason. Number 3 is Nightmare 2. Number 2 is Nightmare 3. And the best Freddy makeup for us is the original. And finally, it's the movie. At Dead Last at number 9 is the Nightmare remake. And number 8 is Nightmare on Elm Street 5. At number 7 is Nightmare on Elm Street 4. At number 6 is Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. And number 5 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Number 3 is Freddy vs. Jason. Number 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. And number 1, to no one's surprise, is the original A Nightmare on Elm Street. And that is it, guys. That is our Halloween Spooktacular Spooktober final episode. Thank you so much for this. I don't know how many more we can do with these. This is a lot of work and a lot of time to talk about a lot of movies. So we might have to come up with a different idea for Spooktober 2025 for our Halloween Spooktacular. So, but thank you for listening, and let us know your rankings. Let us know what you thought of our thoughts, of our quick thoughts, and which movie of the franchise you'd like to see us cover in a full episode, because at some point we will, like I said, we do these ranking episodes not to just say, oh, we've covered those, because technically we haven't. Like, we still plan on, we're still going through individual Friday the 13th movies. We're still going to be talking at some point. We'll probably hop into a Halloween movie at some point, do a full episode on that. But there are movies in this franchise I would like to dedicate their own episodes to at some point. So don't fret, it's gonna happen. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's the end of Spooktober 2024. Next month is a whole new month and a whole new theme as we celebrate one of the most iconic characters of all of cinema, our big boy, Big G. Godzilla is celebrating his 70th birthday this year, and we are dedicating an entire month to Big G. As we start off next week talking about my pick for Godzilla month, as we're talking about 1984's Return of Godzilla, and we have our good friend Darren Lundberg back once again to help us chat about that movie. I'm very excited. Literally every movie for the month for Godzilla month, never seen before. A lot of Godzilla content for November, so stay tuned. Between Patreon and the regular feed, a lot of Godzilla content, so a lot of stuff going on. You can follow us on all the social medias at Dissect That Film or Dissect That Film Pod, which is our Instagram and our Threads now. You can support us over on Patreon, where you can get some fun stuff like early access to episodes, access to polls, blooper reels. We also have a Patreon exclusive show called The Monster Zone, where once a month we spin a wheel and talk about a monster movie. And for October, it was The Crater Lake Monster. And for November, it's going to be a Godzilla movie, because we are dedicating the entire month to Godzilla. So stay tuned for that.
We're going to hit you in the G spot.
Yeah. I'm exhausted. You guys are probably exhausted. This has been a long episode, and we appreciate everybody supporting the show and listening. And please send us some feedback. Make sure you're rating us on the good old podcast apps of choice. We're closing. We're a few away from 40 reviews over on Spotify, so make sure to drop your Spotify ratings. I want to try to hit like 25 over on Apple Podcasts, so make sure to go leave us a 5 stars over there, leave us a review. If you want to watch the video version of the show, go to youtube.com/dissectthatfilm. If you're already here, what's going on, everybody? If you're not, just go over to our YouTube channel, drop that subscribe, like. Yeah, see Dan in his stained shirt.
Dirty shirt. Yeah, it's 100% dirty. Chiller trashing it up, baby.
Yeah, we do some fun stuff over on YouTube. We do YouTube premieres where the Thursday before the audio version is released, we premiere the episode, the video form of the episode, so you guys can watch it live as it drops. But yeah, make sure to leave us comments, guys, and let us know what you think of the show. If you got any critiques, we'll take them. All right, as long as they're constructive. Okay, don't just say we suck. You know, I already say that to myself every day. Other than that, guys, I have nothing else. My brain is mush right now, so I appreciate you all. So
thank you.
I think that's it. I don't know. I probably forgot something, but that's just how this works. Oh wait.
Yep.
You know, thank you to all of our patrons. We love you. You know who you are.
Yes.
I usually read them off, but I don't have my notebook on me right now. So thank you to all of our patrons who support us on patreon.com/dissectthatfilm. And thank you to everybody who just supports the show, period. You are the reason we keep doing this thing. Yeah. And another cool milestone. By the time this comes out, we're probably going to be at 35,000 downloads for the podcast, lifetime downloads. So
hell yeah.
Fucking okay. Cool. That's such a crazy thing to think about. All right, everybody. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan Angelo of DNA Gaming, and we are Dissect That Film, and this has been another episode of the Dissect That Film podcast. We'll see you all again next time, and remember, stay spooky, bitches. Yeah. Welcome to prime time, bitch.